cuffs are off, man. Get right, too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gon'.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant from NFL Network.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, don't roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy Network, and I'm here with a special guest tonight for the late show tonight. We still squeezed in. Technically, it's still a Friday show for us here on the West Coast.
And 9 minutes.
Got 9 minutes to go. I'm here with my boy, FF Tycoon from the Fantasy Boardroom. How you doing, Tycoon? Thanks for joining me tonight, man.
AKA. What's up?
Yes. All the names are there. So that's awesome, man. Exactly. Love it. So yeah, man, we're here for the Start Sit show. I had my son's game tonight. He won, by the way. They're undefeated, which is great. So hopefully they have a chance to get into the playoffs here and wreck some things. The other undefeated team actually lost tonight. I think they're 5-0. Yeah, 5 or 6-0 or something like that. So pretty nice. They're playing good. So big shout out to the Rancho Mirage High School varsity team over there. So hopefully they keep that thing going. But yeah, we're here to do some Start Sit tonight. If we do have some degenerates in here, I didn't think we'd get really anybody watching tonight, but y'all love the support, man. Y'all coming out here. Got some numbers waiting in here. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Chat's already blown up. So we'll get to it, man. For those of you guys who are watching this later, and maybe you're new to Get Right Fantasy Network, we do 4 shows a week. We do our Monday overreaction show, our waiver wire targets. We do our Wednesday roster management show, which I like to call the Rasta management show. So we do buy, sell, trade targets there. Then, of course, Friday nights here like tonight, we're doing our game-by-game start-sit show. And then Classic Mike will be here on Sunday mornings for those last-minute active inactives. So any questions start-sit that we can't answer tonight, he'll be able to answer Sunday morning leading right up to kickoff. More importantly, here on the live show, we're taking your live questions. We try to get at as many questions as we can. And if you happen to, not want to listen to other people's questions because it doesn't pertain to your team and you just want to get to a specific player or game, make sure you guys go hop in the description, check out the chapters. They'll be there, hopefully by the time you're watching this tomorrow morning or even Sunday morning. So one other thing that I, of course, have to say, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button if you're already subscribed because that helps us out just as much. And if you guys go check it out, man, we finally hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. We are here. We made it. I can't believe it.
Congratulations, man. So well deserved.
Thank you, man. It's been a journey. It's been fun. I don't know what else, to even say. Just totally humbled about it. It's just a great thing. Got all the Get Right degenerates out there, man, that have been supporting us. So I can't thank you guys, enough. So again, if you're new, hit that subscribe button for us. Help us keep growing because now we're on to 2,000.
Bingo.
So hopefully we can get there.
First 1,000 is the hardest.
It is. They always say it. So we're here. We're happy. And we'll be doing our giveaway. So for those of you guys who don't know, we're going to give away this awesome ring now that we've hit 1,000 subscribers. So this is brought to you guys from TrophySmack.com, one of our sponsors here. And it's going to be the 1,000 subscriber ring. You'll be able to customize it with silver, gold, whatever it is. But the lettering and the logo is going to stay the same, but we'll let you do silver or gold depending on what you want. And then for anybody else, maybe if you guys want something like that for your league, maybe a belt, a trophy, or even like one of those Kirk Cousins chains, make sure you guys go check out TrophySmack.com and use that promo code GetRight when you check out. Take your league to the next level. you have to add something besides just your monetary gain. Something that you can hold, keep forever, or maybe trade around or give, to the new winners. So it's always nice when you have something like that to play for. In
Agreed.
addition to that,
Money is
money.
great, but money is fleeting.
And I'm sure all of our wives
championships
end up
and
taking that
tokens of
too.
them are forever. Oh yeah, no,
Exactly.
you're not getting rid of the money. No. But you need a little more.
Absolutely. So we appreciate that. Thanks to TrophySmack.com. And again, make sure you guys go check that out. So let's see who we got in the chat here, man, because it's already going crazy. I can't believe you guys are rolling out, staying up this late. This is insane. I honestly thought it would be like maybe one or two people. I thought Ron would be the only guy here tonight.
Although it kind of endears me a little bit.
There we go. So we got Drunk Squidward. He actually left this earlier. He said, yo, what up, guys? Happy 1K subs. I did ask everybody if you weren't going to be able to make it live just to drop your questions in the chat, and I would get to them, myself and Tycoon here. And if you're watching tomorrow, hopefully you see that, and maybe you'll make it in here live with us. We'll see. So Squidward's question was, should he start Michael Thomas or Jerome Ford this week? Let's just get started with the question right out of the gate.
Michael Thomas. Just,
you're talking to two Niners fans here, so of course we're going to say Michael Thomas. I mean, unless Jerome Ford
ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah,
No
at
offense.
least for the first three quarters. If we end up pulling our starters, he might get like a garbage touchdown here or there, so I can see that potentially happening. We did have to pull our starters, like basically
with PJ at quarterback. I think it's just going to be a rough day for that offense in general.
It is.
He'll get a little bit of volume if the weather's as bad as predicted right now, but it's a running back against the Niners. I'm never going to suggest.
Yeah, so we'll shy away from that, and even more so because we've been putting up 30 points a game. We kind of get people in the negative game script, and they end up having to abandon the run, which is basically plays into even more of our strength. So, yeah. I mean, we could do a whole show on the Niners between you and I.
Thomas ain't going to do a lot. He'll give you 5 for 50 or 60 if you're lucky, a touchdown, but it'll be better than what Ford gives you.
Absolutely. Probably looking at like 20 carries for like 40 yards. Maybe one catch for 3 yards, and that's about it.
If it gets negative game script, I could see 3 or 4 catches, so maybe in full PPR he can give you a little something. But
yeah,
I'd
roll out Thomas. So there you go. Appreciate you dropping the question in there, Squidward. We got Warner in here saying what's up. That was also from a little earlier too, so maybe he'll stop by. He did drop a question early in the chat too, so if you're watching tomorrow, we'll get to it here. He says, do you going to start Devonta Foreman versus the Vikings or Chuba Hubbard versus the Dolphins? And he always says this. He wants to know why. He just doesn't want a quick answer. He wants to know our thoughts behind it. So I'll turn it over to you. Exactly. It's like my math teacher from high school, man.
It's I actually was thinking about this exact question today, and I'm leaning Foreman mostly due to almost guaranteed volume that he'll receive. And typically, at least over the last couple of years, when you've seen him join teams and take over kind of a starting role late in the season, he's produced. I saw a stat today that I believe he's rushed for 113 yards or more in 5 of the last 6 games when he's had more than 50% of the rushing share. So if he can get rolling, and Fields has looked good these last 2 weeks, you just got a spot. Vikings, you saw what DeAndre Swift did to them. I mean, they've actually held up well against the run outside of that, partially because the pass defense is so poor, but I think the Bears will remain largely committed to the run, and with no Roshan, no Herbert, the Foreman will be there now in full PPR in what will definitely be a negative game script for the Panthers. I do think there's a good chance to see a high reception total for Chuba, but I'd say, but the ceiling is similar, and I think you have a safer floor with Foreman, so that's where I would roll.
And that's what I agree with too. You got the Vikings; they're basically giving up the 7th most points to running backs, like you said. The majority of that is because of the Swift situation. You have who are the Panthers playing? I just had it up here.
Panthers,
Dolphins. Yeah, and they're 15th against the run right now. Points allowed. So a little better matchup against the Vikings there as well, like you said, plus the volume. and I'd probably go Foreman as well in this situation. So there you go, Warrior. Good luck to you, man. I'm starting Foreman in a couple places, and I'm actually starting Hubbard in 1 or 2 places as well. And
I
so,
think Hubbard's a decent start. If you're in bye trouble, injury trouble, you can do a lot worse than Hubbard.
yeah, and it was nice to be able to kind of pick him up here with the kind of the last minute scratch with Sanders. So hopefully you had him stashed. All right, so we'll get on to George here. We're getting a little closer to actual live time here. So maybe George is still hanging out with us here. He says, I want to add Charbonnet in case Walker gets injured. Should I drop QJ or Jameson Williams? So Quentin Johnson with the Chargers or Jameson Williams with Detroit. Who would you drop for Charbonnet, or would you even drop either of those guys for Charbonnet?
I don't think I would drop either of them for Charbonnet at this point. No.
I'm the same way.
Unless
To
Walker
me,
gets hurt,
yeah. Like to me, the number one rule in fantasy is what? You can't predict injuries, right? So trying to predict an injury is just almost near, impossible at this point. I think both Quentin and Jameson definitely have some upside that you could potentially sell off later. Obviously, if Sharps gets hurt or if you happen to have an empty spot, or you're able to throw somebody in your IR spot, then grabbing somebody like that, kind of beating the waiver wire, so to speak, is a good move. So I think that's a good thing. But dropping these two guys, they're about to pop here any moment. Obviously, with the injury to Mike Williams, and obviously Jameson now coming back off suspension, basically walking into a number 2 role once he gets up to speed there. It's going to take a couple weeks, I think, but at least you got 2 weeks sooner than what you thought if you did draft him or if you have been holding on to him or happen to pick him up.
patience will definitely be required for both of them. But and it's possible one or both of them doesn't even hit. But if either of them does, they're going to be a home run. So that's really what you want. I mean, hold on to the guy that could be a really strong wide receiver 2 for you towards the end of the season, playoff season, and also we'll have a couple of really sweet boom games in there. So
absolutely, couldn't agree more. So let's see. We'll get to the next one here, and let me bring it up. Oops, I started clicking in all the wrong places. So we got Roberto Perez in here. He says, "What up? Should I start Amari Cooper or pick up Chuba Hubbard off waivers right now? Do you think it's worth dropping Zach Ertz?" So let's part this thing out. First and foremost, let's start. Are we starting Amari Cooper against the Niners? You see his Niners shirt. You see my Niners hat. We're sitting this guy this week. I'm actually starting Nico Collins over him.
And it's actually not even as much about top receivers. Not as much this year, thank goodness, but tend to still get their due against us. They'll at least put up an okay day. Marquise Brown had a nice day against us individually, but with PJ at quarterback against this team, and again, potential weather concerns, pass. Give me Hubbard.
There you go. And then, so does he pick up Chuba off the waivers right now? Or I guess he is saying or, so that's kind of tied into it. And I guess, would you drop, I guess he's trying to drop Ertz for Hubbard. So I would say definitely do that.
Absolutely.
You don't need to, no point in rostering 2 tight ends unless you have Kelsey or Andrews on a bye week and you need
and Ertz is replaceable.
Need to call a guy up. Or
if
Laporta.
Sanders misses good time, Hubbard's going to be valuable.
Absolutely. So there we go. And he's kind of just asking, is it worth dropping Zach Ertz for Chuba? Zach Ertz is this tight end too? Yeah, so absolutely. Yes. We guess right on that. So we got Andrew Fish in here. Looks like he came from your channel over here. So welcome to Get Right. Appreciate the boardroom showing out over here.
He is my best friend from back home. Andrew Fisher
awesome.
Here is my boy. This is my guy. Thank you for joining, man. I appreciate
That's
you
awesome.
checking out the show.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, hopefully hit that subscribe button for us here too. Jump over to our channel quick, hit the subscribe, but then go back to the fantasy boardroom and watch over there.
Go subscribe.
So we'd appreciate it, man. Come hang out with us over here. So let's see. Did he have a question or he's just saying what's up?
He was just saying what's up, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. Oh, he said, "What's up, bro? Hell of an intro." Oh, so he caught the intro. There we go. That intro gets me hyped up too, man, to start the show. So that's what's up, man. There we go. We got our boy Jay Media in the house. We got Niners all crazy in here right now, man. He's saying, "Where's my Niner gang at?" LFG, baby. So let's go. Best in the house. There it is, man. There it is. He's saying congrats on the 1K, fellas. So thank you. But congrats to you guys, man. Thanks to you guys. It has really nothing to do with us, man. It's you guys have been supporting us. You guys have been hitting that subscribe button for us. We wouldn't be here without you. So we appreciate you guys coming out here. Freaking, it's midnight right now on the West Coast, and we got guys in here still hanging out with us here on a Friday night, man. Almost pushing double digits viewers right now. So that's pretty crazy for us. So we appreciate that, man. We got Neanderthal also saying congrats. Appreciate you, Neanderthal. You burning the late night oil here with us, so we appreciate that. We have Colby in the house. Colby Bouzon saying Brian Robinson or Foreman this week to start. So do you like Brian Robinson or Devonta Foreman?
Give me Foreman.
Give you Foreman.
I don't. Yeah, the Falcons. No, I don't love the matchup.
Yeah, I don't really like starting a lot of people against the Falcons because they are so run heavy. They burn a lot of clock. You're not able to put a lot of plays together, and you need to be able to run plays to, to put up fantasy points. And just that's what we end up happening. It's not. They have a pretty good secondary. Right. Their linebackers are okay. The line's getting there, but it's just you're not able to run enough plays against. It's not that they're great or dominating. It's just you're not able to run plays
AJ
against
Terrell's pretty nice, but outside of that, it's not like a shutdown defense. It's just
right.
It's going to be a slow grind of a game in all likelihood.
Exactly. So only a 42.5 point over under right now in that game. And what is it? They are 20 or 31st against the one right now. So they're giving up the second least amount of points to running backs at the moment. So I would take my chances with Foreman. So we appreciate that, Colby. If you're new, because I don't really recognize the number, but we do have 1,000 subscribers now. Maybe you have watched here before, but if you are new to us, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us and keep checking that out. So we got Andrew in here saying, dude, that Dallas game was wild. It absolutely was.
It was amazing. It was
amazing.
Highlight of the year.
Couldn't be happier. Yeah, couldn't be happier. We pulled basketball situation on them pulling our starters for the whole fourth quarter, man. You don't do that in football. That's a basketball. Oh. It's like when you're at my 30.
Thinking about it.
Yeah, it was great. That was great. So let's see. We got Smokey the cat in the house. What's up, Smokey? How's it going, brother? He says, Rasta, what's up, everyone? Do I play Breece or Godwin at the flex? So are you taking Breece Hall here, or are you taking Godwin at the flex? Mike Evans is active. So what are we doing there?
I think I'm still going to go Godwin. I don't love the Philadelphia matchup for New York in their offense. I know the Philly defense isn't what it was last year. And they just lost Elijah Vera Tucker last game on the offensive line, which was already weak. And
Philly is without Jalen Carter.
Yeah, I know Carter's missing, but I don't know. That's
not enough.
It's still a tough line. Breece has excelled in the spots he's supposed to this year, but he has struggled where the Jets have faced a really tough defensive matchup, and I think they're going to this week. Give me Godwin. The Lions, while improving, as a team. Actually, hold on one second.
Their rushing defense is pretty good right now. Lions wide receivers, they are 14th most points. About mid
right now, though. So give me Godwin, man.
There you go.
Especially against the slot, they're giving up their fantasy points 2-1 to slot receivers versus the outside.
Ooh, nice. You got it broken down in slot share too. That's what's up. That's why I brought you on the show, Tycoon. That's why you need to be here.
I was talking about. I'm not going to give him a free plug, but that's
there you go. Absolutely, that's what's up. See, between the two of us, we're gonna have you guys covered here tonight, man. So Eagles are 30, basically third against the run. Only two other teams you can run on less, I guess you would say, in there. So I'll take Godwin in that one as well. So appreciate that, Smokey. There we go. And Warrior saying he is still here. We got a bunch of degenerates in here, man. That's what's up. He's saying thanks, guys. So there we go. Smokey has another question. He says, would you rather stash DeMarcado or Tank Bigsby?
Connor did go on IR, correct?
Yes, he will miss at least 4 games.
DeMarcado.
Yeah, if you're looking for someone that you could potentially play now, I mean, you're just handcuffing. You're handcuffing ETN, these two guys. these two guys here were big time ETN fans, so I've been avoiding I don't even want to speak to Tank Bigsby's name because all the ETN shares
We
I
might
have.
take
But
a couple of goal line touchdowns across the rest of the season. Whatever, who cares?
ETN had what 26 carries and like
Yeah,
6 catches, like that was 30 touches last week, man.
ETN
Yeah,
is a top 10 back in the league, like without any debate in my mind. Just
there
stop
you
it,
go.
Tank Bixby.
There you go. There you go. J Media saying, "Damn guys, I need to drop my Jalen Warren stash because Saquon's not back yet." Sheesh.
Isn't he still
So
technically questionable?
he is questionable, dealing with that
Who's he
high ankle
looking
sprain
like?
right now. Plays on Monday night, which is the toughest thing to deal with.
hate
He
that
was
so
limited
much.
all week.
Yeah.
He was limited all last week. Same designation. Everything's. I mean, remember they were talking about he was potentially going to play on that Thursday night game against us in week 2 or week 3,
that
right
was
after
always
he got
BS.
hurt.
But-
Yeah. So, that's what's crazy, but I'm not taking the chance on that. Not only that,
Yeah.
obviously Daniel Jones is out. Just that
Yeah.
offense has been just horrible and terrible anyway. So I need to see a week with Barkley in this offense, Steven, before I think, you've been doing okay, hopefully, without him so far. And you should have other options at this point, 4 weeks into
Well, if one of them
that
was Jalen
injury.
Warren
So
or Jameer Gibbs, you're screwed.
yeah, you're kind of screwed there. But yeah, so
That's
I would
some
say
people.
yeah. So hopefully, if you do have IR spots in that one and they do rule him out, maybe you can grab like a Matt Breida, or something like that. Just to maybe just throw him there for the week. Maybe just roll out a Rico Dowdle and hope he might just plunge in the end zone randomly in that game. But yeah, other than that, I would try not to stash Warren because to me he's almost flexible just on his own at this point in the 50-50, basically a 50-50 timeshare with Najee at this point, which is the first time we've really seen that. From a Mike Tomlin offense in years.
Not drop Jalen. There's got to be somebody else.
Yeah, has to be some. If you're holding 2 tight ends or 2 quarterbacks, like drop one of those guys before you drop Warren. So there you go. So Andrew saying got you blood. I don't know what we were talking about on that, but either way, he got us.
I was thanking him for being here.
Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, for the support and all that stuff. Okay, there we go. Yeah, absolutely. Or maybe he even hit the subscribe button for us. We'll see.
Hopefully.
So we got TH in the house asking Chuba Hubbard or Rashad White half PPR. He's been debating this. So tough matchup there for Rashad this week.
Yeah, I'm probably leaning Hubbard this week. At least in PPR, I am. If it's standard, then probably still White. But if it's PPR, I'm definitely going Hubbard this week.
I agree with that. Rashad, going up against this Lions defense, they've given up the least amount of fantasy points to running backs, at least in half PPR. At this point, I would take my chances elsewhere if you can.
PPR, duh. So yeah, in half PPR.
Oh, it is half PPR. Perfect.
Yeah.
See, it's nice when my stats match with what they're asking too.
So yes,
there you
Chuba.
go. There you go. So I'm with Chuba as well. So good luck, TH. We're with you there. Like I said, I'm starting a couple leagues there with Hubbard. So I'll either be rejoicing with you or cussing myself out too. So he says, I'm starting off bad this week. Again, I played Jet, Mac, Duda, Achan, and Aaron Jones on a bye. He has the Khalil Herbert and Roshan debacle. So he said he ended up playing Mahomes, but he only scored him 18.3 points. So don't get too down on that, man. There was people that, scored those 49 points with DJ Moore, thought they were, if you're going against them. And several people we had, come back last week said they beat DJ Moore.
Going against Mahomes and he only scored 18.3 points. Be just grateful, honestly. That's good.
Yeah. And he was like, that's like his floor. Like basically, we're going to get into that here in a second, but in my opinion, that was like a scrimmage for them. They were just playing with the Broncos. It was ridiculous that they actually did that to an
goofy
NFL team.
lateral from Kelsey to
Watson,
I think it was.
Flea Flicker tight end to tight end. Like they're just literally going out there. I bet you they just let them create the plays, the first game script on that. So we're just going to try a bunch of stuff. We'll get to that here shortly. But we have Tingley in the house saying, hey, potential trade, Mandrews and Arthur Juan for Kelsey. Would you take it?
The Andrews AJ Brown side, it's not close for me. The Andrews AJB side for me by so much. As much
it is
great as Kelsey is, like Andrews is tight end too. Like not currently in the rankings right now, I don't believe, but like I still believe
like in stats.
I'd rather have Andrews as the only person Or Kelsey's the only person I'd rather have than Andrews, but not at the price of AJB for the upgrade. That's
Correct.
insane to me.
Absolutely. It's like whenever you see you have a chance to guilt Kelsey, it's like, oh, it's exciting. Obviously, you see what he just did. But I'm with you there, Tycoon. It's
Yeah,
not
did you
the
see what
difference of
AJ Brown
AJ
just
Brown.
did? Like, oh my
Yeah,
god, or what
exactly.
he's been doing? Like, holy
Yeah, exactly. So
God,
if that, so like if it was like Andrews and like, let's say maybe someone like Ridley, would you do it then?
no,
Okay.
it would have to be a wide receiver 3 or something to go for that upgrade for me.
Okay.
I don't think
What
it's
about
that big of a difference. Rest of year,
what about Nico?
I would do it for Nico. Yeah, I would include
Okay.
Nico with it.
What would he have to add to the Kelsey side to make you do that? So if he countered, like what type of receiver would you need to have that downgrade? Obviously, from AJ Brown to who? Would you go Ridley then, like Kelsey and Ridley for
I don't think Ridley
Mandrews
would
and
be
AJ
enough
Brown?
for me there. No,
Okay.
I'm not the biggest Ridley believer there. I probably need like
Amon-Ra?
like an Ayuk or somebody at least.
Okay.
Yeah, Ayuk Amon-Ra would work. That's probably more than the other party would do. But
DK
give me
Metcalf?
Brandon Ayuk, something like that. DK I would do probably. Yeah,
Amari Cooper?
Cooper.
Not this week, but
not
just
right.
rest of the season.
I don't know. It's weird with Watson all of a sudden. So I don't know. Like if that situation is giving me some strange vibes right now.
Maybe like Kelsey and D-Hop. Would you take that for
D-Hop, no.
Mandrews? And
No.
okay.
No.
All right. I was trying to find that line. Give you some ideas there, Tingley, if you can get a counter in there.
Probably, yeah. Maybe Amon-Ra if you could somehow get it, but I think the line for me would be Brandon Ayuk.
Okay. There you go. So hopefully that helped you out there, Tingley. Yeah, keep Andrews and Arthur Wan. We're big fans over here. And yeah, not enough there. So we got Neanderthal asking Flowers or D-Hop. They're playing each other in a standard league, so non-PPR. Flowers or D-Hop. Who's going to score the touchdown?
Flowers redemption.
Okay. They got the London game this week.
And also Titans are a pass funnel defense, so
Right.
that's part of it too. And
Is Simmons out or is he active? I usually don't look too much on the defensive stuff when I include it on my notes, but
I'm ashamed to say I do not know.
All right. Sorry to put you on the
Mike
spot
does a
there.
great job with the alerts, but I don't recall that one.
Yeah, I couldn't remember either. So yeah, that's what happened when Mike's off on Friday. See, classic. We don't know what the injuries are going on when you're taking a day off for your anniversary, man. Make sure you guys wish classic.
Automated. Dang.
No, that's all manual. We do that all manual. So that's what you get. And I'm glad you said that too, because if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go join our private Sleeper thread, man. It's kind of like our Discord, but it's on the Sleeper app. If you guys are already playing on Sleeper, just scroll up to the top. You'll see this link here. I think I might have even pinned it. So make sure you guys come join. It's free. You can post screenshots of your team. Yeah, if you use Sleeper, do it. We're in there all the time. You got myself, Tycoon. All of us degenerates are in there, man. We'll answer your start sit questions. We'll answer your trade questions anytime that we're not live. So that's a great little way to have direct access to us when we're not live to get your questions answered. So there we go. See, that was a perfect time to plug that. Let's see, where was I at now? I lost where I was at.
Warrior Loft.
There we go. Dell. Perfect. This one, right? So someone dropped Tank Dell. He's a must pickup, right? He has the Cowboys defense, Ravens defense, Justice Hill, and Logan Thomas. He also has Hawkinson, it looks like. Who would you drop? Definitely defense. No reason to be stacking two defenses.
There's no reason to have two defenses. I'd probably drop the Ravens defense, just the Cowboys. Well, the defense itself might end up and down, like they're a turnover, big play, sack type of defense, the type of defense that generates fantasy points. So
right.
So I would just drop the Ravens defense, as good as they are.
Yeah, even if it might be a tough start this week, of course, against this Chargers offense, which I think might be a crazy game. Obviously, a little revenge game there for Kellen Moore. Can't wait for this game to see this one pop off. But yeah, I would just roll with them anyway. Maybe you can get a pick or pick six or something like that, just to hopefully save your day. But even if you get like 2 or 3 points, I'm sure Michael will get a sack or two there, and
And for that weird
hopefully
about it,
just
I'd
hold
be
through.
okay with dropping Logan Thomas too. You don't need 2 tight ends either, especially if
Yeah,
you have Hawkinson. So
absolutely. Yeah, if you feel like starting that Ravens defense this week, but I do like Thomas's matchup this week too.
oh yeah, no, Thomas is
So
good. It's just not necessary on the
yeah,
roster. That's all.
yeah, and Hawk's gonna ball out with the JJ injury too. Like he's probably gonna be the most trusted target there. I wouldn't be
Oh,
surprised to see.
oh, go to the most recent comment, Tingley, before
Oh,
we
okay,
go in chronological.
okay, yeah, no, I
He's a
got you.
Kelsey owner. I know it's
Oh,
really hard to trade away Kelsey. I would take Andrews and Brown
yeah, for
personally.
sure. Yeah, Andrews and more. Yeah, you're gonna AJ Brown with that too to pair with your already probably wide receiver one that you hopefully
I
have
can't
there
imagine you have more startable receivers that are better than AJ right now. So,
because you took Kelsey there. So yeah, you're basically trading your first round pick for like a first and a third, which is a great
uh,
deal
what
to
an
me.
incredible offer for Kelsey.
Yeah,
Nobody ever offers anything like that nice. Oh,
wow. Yeah, that's pretty good. He's
honestly,
serious about getting Kelsey.
yeah, AJ Brown is currently wide receiver 8. Yes.
Hmm
So, oh
And
man,
considering the wide receiver ones on IR, Chase barely just had his first like top 12, weekly finish. Cooper Cup's been on
and
IR for 4 weeks. Like he's basically really like the de facto almost, Tyreek Hill basically is the one. And then like who's
yeah,
after that? AJ Brown basically is almost
oh
there
yeah.
next. So
And
and Puka
Andrews
Nakua, of
is
course.
actually tight end 2 in points per game, so I was wrong about him not being early. So yeah, he already is. He's only 2.6 points per game behind Kelsey, and you get to add a legitimate wide receiver one. Like, yeah,
Where's Laporta? Oh, because Kelsey just had his
Laporta
blow up
is
game right now. That's probably why he just fell behind.
Laporta's 3 at 14.4. So
Okay. He was the one before this most recent Kelsey game on Thursday.
well, but Andrews would have been because he's at 15.1 points per game.
Interesting.
In
All right.
overall, yes, Laporta would be. I'm just
Yeah,
talking
I think
points per
like
game.
total points. Oh, points per
Total
game.
points. Laporta's still 2. Andrews is 5 because he missed a game.
Got it. Makes sense. See, there we go. Talking
And he's
it out
still
for you.
top 5 having missed a game. So yeah, be very happy with Mark Andrews.
Absolutely. So there you go, Tingley. Get her done. It sucks to trade away Kelsey. It's hard to hit that accept button on that, but you're not losing too much of a downgrade, and you're getting basically like a free AJ Brown. Like that's outrageous. I would take that. It'd be hard, but I would do it. 1K LFG. So there we go. Warloft is saying Hill's on his bench. He has Pollard, Mostert, and Jeff Wilson. Did I miss a question there? Oh, that was part of his other question up here. So
still, yeah, Ravens.
yeah, defense or Thomas. Try to, maybe you could package Thomas up with like Justice Hill and get something just to open up that roster spot. I don't mind doing things like that either. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a big time trade, just someone decent. So Drunk Squidward says, you trading all the Broncos, wide receiver Judy and Sutton? Or are you trading all the Broncos wide receivers, Judy and Sutton and Mims?
If you can, I guess. I don't think anybody is going to want them.
Yeah, who's buying? You're selling pennies on the dollar at this point.
So good luck, I guess. I mean, yeah, if you can get anything good at all, sure. But it's not going to happen.
Right. I agree. So let's see. Next one we have here. If you had to drop one, who'd it be? Roshan, Sharbs, Najee, or DeMarcado? My gut reaction was Najee, and that's just crazy to think about over these guys.
No, it's absolutely
but you
not
can't.
Najee,
Yeah, you can't. But that was my gut. I'm just saying that was my initial gut. Like, Najee's the one.
For
I'm
now,
like,
honestly, probably Charbonnet. I mean,
yeah.
Just it could also be DeMarcado. I mean, if you're playing more of the long game, if you don't need to start any of these guys over the next couple of weeks, I would actually say DeMarcado's the guy to drop. But
right, yeah, because Connor's
Najee or Roshan.
Right, Connor's coming back, and that's his job. Whereas Roshan has an opportunity to take Herbert's job during this 4-week absence.
Even this Sunday, it could be more Keontae Ingram than DeMarcado. I think DeMarcado will get the more run this week just because he played well last week, and that's kind of a homecoming for him. He's from Inglewood. They're playing until 5.
There you go. kind of hot hand approach kind of thing we'll probably
That
hear.
too. So we'll see how that goes. But over even the time that Connor's on IR, I don't think it's assured that he plays significantly more than this upcoming Sunday.
Yeah, especially with Ingram being active, like you said, practice in full today, and
that's the guy the organization has actually made an investment in. So
right. So there we go. He says, I'm definitely thinking about it because I have Puka and Devonta Smith. So, yeah, you need A.J. Brown. So
you
get
need
that
to do
done.
that immediately. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No brainer now.
Absolutely. So there you go. That's what happens when you spend your first round pick on Kelsey. And then to be able to still get Andrews and A.J. Brown after that.
That's
great.
Way to go.
Yeah, that's good. Good job. Good job. So Smoking the Cat's in here saying, is Muth droppable? He had to pick up Conklin. Shout out to Conklin, baby. Started him last week. Decent. Starting him again this week in several spots. Decent. He says he had to pick up Conklin, and he was decent last week with 11 points. So are you dropping Muth if you have Conklin, or you think Muth will come back and be decent here after the bye? Or
I don't know if I'm necessarily favor him over Conklin for sure rest of the year, but I do think Muth is now just one of those guys you try to stream. Basically, he's just a streaming tight end. He's not a consistent top 12 starter, in my opinion. Yeah. So
not only that, you also have Deontay Johnson coming back in week 7, most likely, based on what he's saying. So, he didn't really break out during these 5 weeks that Deontay's been gone. So, yeah, I would say he's droppable. Like, I don't think anybody's going to go crazy, run out and get him unless they're starting like Gianno Smith or something. I'd probably drop Gian, but I don't know. Gianno's been producing more than you, so that's weird too. All right, so we'll move on. Hopefully that helped you there, Smokey. We got Will Hayes asking Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith in PPR. Who you start
this week? Oh, it's Waddle, no doubt. Panthers instead of the Jets. Come on.
Yeah, but Sauce Gardner might be out. I mean, does that change your?
Not really. Just
and isn't
such great for Waddle.
Okay. Yeah, I guess
it's more about Waddle getting the Panthers than.
Yeah, and A-Chain's not going to just go crazy, since he's not there, or H-N, however you're saying it nowadays. Right. So they probably won't just lean on the run there. So maybe it could be a nice squeaky wheel game for Waddle and get him a little involved here. Yep. So yeah, I think I'd roll out Jalen Waddle there, but they're really close.
And all right against wide receiver 1, so maybe I think this is more Waddle week than a Tyreek week.
Okay, so there we go. Jamie D is saying Brock Purdy deserves this week off. No days off, and no days off. We're trying to win a ship over here, Jamie D.
Brock
He hasn't earned anything yet.
No, he deserves anything he wants, but he wouldn't want a day off. That's not.
Yeah, he wants to play.
Is wired. He doesn't do that shit.
Absolutely. So there you go. Couldn't have said it better myself. We have AS in the house. What's up, man? Welcome back. He says, quick question. Brandon Audrey or Justin Tucker for a kicker? We got a kicker question. I love when we get a kicker question because I have no idea. Classic Mike is the kicker question.
I thought I knew kickers really well, but at the risk of sounding like just a complete NFL ignoramus, who the hell is Brandon Audrey?
Isn't he the rookie kicker? I'm looking it up right now, but I thought he was the actually I don't even know either.
Yeah.
I want to say do you even have kickers in here? Oh, it's Aubrey. He's the Cowboys kicker.
Ooh. It's actually not a bad question. It might be Aubrey. Like obviously
he's
Tucker's, the number 1 kicker in reality, but like
yeah, he's literally been sitting on the wire actually in one of my leagues that we still have kickers. Someone dropped him when I don't know when they dropped him, but no one went and picked him up. I thought that was kind of crazy.
And in this London game, I think it's going to be a high scoring. Yeah, so Aubrey. Yeah, I agree with Perry W.
There we go. And what's up, Perry? So Brandon Aubrey, huh? And so he's had 9 points, 18 points, 11, 12, and 6 against the Niners. We'll throw that one out of there. So that's pretty decent. Tucker, I know he missed a couple the last time, but he's sitting at 5, 10, 6, 4, and 4.
Yeah.
And they haven't really been moving the ball. So he's saying for rest of the season. So
honestly, probably Aubrey.
And I never, especially when it comes to kickers, like there is no rest of season for me. Like you're just taking it week by week. So I would say
There's
definitely you
only a
want
handful that are
Aubrey
just
in there.
you keep and set and forget. And yeah.
Tucker used to be one of those, but yeah, not this year so far. So I would I'd roll it with Aubrey and make it happen. So there we go. All right, so Perry's asking, decided to wait. I'm stacked at wide receiver, but I was showing or trying to trade Stevenson, Puka for Mixon. He needs an RB2, and Stevenson is so in the wing. So I agree with the back part there. I might have been trying. So I was trying to trade autocorrect
Yeah, I
out
think
of
he was trying to move, Stevenson and Puka
trying to
for
trade
Mixon. I don't know that Mixon is enough of an
worth Puka.
upgrade.
Yeah,
Not worth
I'd rather
Puka,
just have
no.
Puka.
So, I mean, I get that Stevenson's annoying. I do think it'll improve for him. He himself is just a talented enough player that it should be better than it is, but also the New England is such a mess that I don't know how much better. So yeah, I mean, if you have an opportunity to, upgrade from Stevenson, certainly do it, but I don't think Mixon should be the target.
Yeah. And he has a decent rushing schedule coming up here. He gets Las Vegas this week, then faces Buffalo. They're a little tough, but they lost Matt Milano. That's going to be big. Miami's, kind of mid as far as against the run. Washington's defense kind
certainly
of
worth
falling apart.
not giving up him and Puka for Mixon though. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'd write it out or just try to package that for someone else besides Mixon. So yeah. And he's saying he already knows Mike loves the kicker question. So there we go. And Perry hangs out with Mike on his hangs out with Mike on the Sunday morning show. So appreciate you checking out our late night show here, Perry. He said he was gonna he's like, that got butchered. So we figured it out. We figured it out there. Threw me for a loop there for just a second, but we got it. But we got a Gorilla Kid in the house tonight. What's up, man? Hopefully you're subscribed here to the channel. We're trying to get past this 1,000 mark and keep it rolling. So hopefully you can help us out here if you're not already subscribed. He says pick one and a one wide receiver and a flex. So Garrett Wilson, Lockett, or Flowers. So let's start with the wide receiver first. Are you going to go Wilson, Lockett, or Flowers?
Give me Wilson and amongst the wide receivers, Wilson and Mixon in the flex, I think.
Okay. Kind of give you a little floor play there. That's tough for me too there. I think I was
thinking maybe Lockett, but Bengals are, 22nd in fantasy points for wide receivers. And I really actually like the Bengals a lot in this game in general. So
going to be some negative game script there. I think we're for sure out on Lockett out of these three. I think I'm actually going to go Flowers and Mixon. So I'll take Flowers against that pass funnel Tennessee defense that we were talking about earlier.
Certainly fair.
He's the clear one over there.
Probably going to make up for a little bit of a redemption game. So
there we go.
But also, Philly gives up the second most points to wide receivers. So
yeah, and if you want to get real frisky, get a little boom in there, maybe go Wilson and Flowers.
And Wilson's also the guy that, even with Zach Wilson throwing the ball, I mean, he's still been able to be pretty respectable and still can make big plays. That's really the main thing. If they can just get the ball in his hands, and they should be able to. And I think Slade's out this week.
Yeah, and Eagles give up the fourth most yards to wide receiver position.
Actually, I really like Wilson in this spot. I would not play Flowers over Mixon myself. Over Wilson.
Actually, yeah, I'm changing my answer there, Gorilla. I'm going Wilson and Flowers. I'm going to sit Mixon. I'll take the boom, especially if it's full or half PPR.
Yes.
So there we go. Let's see. We have Perry asking us, would you guys trade K9 with how this how his playoff schedule is?
What is his playoff schedule?
Bringing it up right now.
Yeah, same here. Philly, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's a little tough. 15 and 16. Two of the top rush defenses there. And then he gets Niners right before that, and Cowboys Niners before that. Yeah, you might want to start moving off of K9 there. He gets Niners.
I also think he's kind of a little bit touchdown dependent. Not Totally. But I mean, also, Pete loves to run the ball. I mean, he's going to score his touchdown. So
Yeah.
it's
And K9's a home run hitter, man. Like he's
yes.
like that's what he's known for.
I don't
Like
think
that's
he's the
the
best back in the
potential
world,
rookie of the
but
year. No. But
I
that's
think
his thing.
Seattle's going to be able to hang though with Philly. I mean, he's a guy. Yeah, if I can upgrade from, I would definitely try to. But he's not a guy being aggressive about trying to get rid of because of his playoff schedule. No.
Yeah, I'd wait maybe until after the Arizona game. Then you could probably sell him at his peak
Yes.
heading into week 8 against the Browns, because then that's when it kind of gets tough. You get Browns, Ravens, Commanders, Rams. 2 games are good out of there, Commanders and Rams. He'll probably be okay, but then you just get a gauntlet. Niners, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles, Titans. That's like 5 weeks where he's barely like startable. So I appreciate you for bringing that to my attention. Might have to move Walker here in a couple leagues as well. So appreciate that, Perry. See, contributing to the show here. So let's see. We got George asking Tua or Fields this week. Good question. Tua or Fields?
Damn, that's hard.
Mm-hmm. Because man, so this is what it is. Like he has a good ceiling, right? Like we know he can just go off with his weapons that he has. And we've already said we're starting Waddle this week. Like we feel like that's going to be a good play. I know you said maybe it might be a down Tyreek week, but right now he's basically the wide receiver 1. Fields can literally be the QB1 or like the QB 28. Like just depends on what you're looking for. I think 2 is the more safer play if you really need some boom out of that position, which I don't think you really need to take that much risk there. Then you can go Fields, but I need to see Fields do it maybe for 1 or 2 more games. Like I don't know if he's had 2 nice games. Like this is why we drafted Fields, 6th, 7th overall.
That's another nice
because
matchup
of these last
too.
2 weeks.
So
yeah, and it's
that's
a good
what they
matchup.
both have nice matchups.
Yeah, they're both in
period.
okay.
But I think I'm still probably going to lean towards the safety of Tua.
I think so too. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Tua there. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Tua there. A little safer, and you still have the ceiling. You're not giving up the floor, and still have a similar ceiling. So there we go. Gorilla saying he has a Niners kicker. Go Moody.
Good.
I don't think he hasn't missed a field goal yet, right?
Moody's killing it. We've got him in Scott Fishbowl, and he has been tremendous. I'm very happy with him.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Wait. So I think he re-asked this question, but he also said, do you think Tank Bigsby's worth the stash?
Not really. No.
I mean, if you have like an empty spot, you kind of just want to
like a long
take a plunge on a handcuff. Yeah.
In Dynasty, yes, but in redraft, not really.
Yeah. So he was saying that he has a Niners kicker. He's reliable, but they're calling for bad weather. Do you still think he's still straight?
Yeah, I do.
He's good enough to start?
Him. Yeah, he kicked at Michigan. I mean, half the year it's not good weather up there either.
Makes sense.
I think he's all right.
Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, for me, I usually just stream my kickers anyway, so I don't really. I usually always try to find guys in domes.
One of those set it and forget it guys right now, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
way the Niners offense is playing,
scoring all the time. Like he's making kicks.
Yeah, and he's usually getting at least 2-3 field goals a game. So yeah, you like that.
A couple field goals.
A lot of things I did.
I mean,
a lot of things I did. I don't know if you play this, but like on Yahoo, that's like I don't really play in any leagues that have kickers on sleeper right now. Just my old school Yahoo home leagues. We made that change this year to kind of like Scott Fishbowl did, where you get the yards for the kick.
Yeah, every league I'm in with kickers is like that. Yeah,
change that now. I really like that.
It's great.
I like that setting a lot better.
And I especially love it in Scott Fishbowl because you get the full 33 for the extra points.
For the extra points. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that make like kickers are like 4th round picks.
So
now.
You always
they're more valuable than wide receiver 2s.
Well, you tend to always target kickers and good offenses in general, right? Just because you know they're going to be in scoring range.
Right. But you kind of target those ones that have terrible red zone production because you want them kicking the field goals and not scoring the touchdowns.
For the 40 and 50 yarders. In this case, hey, if your team scores 5 touchdowns, you're still getting 16 points. I mean,
right. Yeah. Oh, and I have Bucker and Jeezy's ACG for the Veterans Invitational League. And Bucker got me like 22.2 points this last week because he hit that like 61 yarder. So that was awesome. So we think you're good with Moody there. If if you want to drop him and get a guy in a dome or something like that, you could try it. But you should be okay. Roll him out there. He's done you good so far. Even if he puts up a dud week, so to speak, that's all right. You should be all right. You shouldn't. Your win or loss shouldn't totally make on the kicker difference. So hopefully you got some other places there where you can do it. Oh, he has an update for us here. So he says he streams kickers too, but 49ers have been getting touchdowns, but not the 3-point field goals. And I asked because they say it's going to be windy in Cleveland and it's bad. So yeah. Who do you have? Who else is out there? Yeah, let me know who else is out there. And then we'll see if maybe some of those other options would be good enough. So we finally got to the current chats. We got the people hanging out with us here, got the questions answered. So we'll kind of go through here and do our quick start sits here for the game. Before we get into that, though, let's just do a quick recap. We don't have to get too much into it of this Thursday night game here. So let's see. Oops, I forgot to change it. Let me pull that off here. So it's not start sit, it's recap. See?
Start
recap.
Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice.
Yeah, exactly. Right tip. At this point. There's the tip. All right, so let's try it again. And again, we'll have those chapters in there for you guys. But we got a Thursday night recap, man. Broncos at Chiefs. You got Broncos 8, Chiefs 19. I'll turn it over to you since you're the guest here. What are your kind of takeaways from this game here?
Not much, honestly. It was a really ugly game. Seeing the Chiefs offense struggle against the worst defense in the league was not particularly fun to watch, and watching Russell Wilson, he finished with 95 passing yards, right? Not even be able to get to 100 passing yards. Just a disaster of a game. I don't have a lot of takeaways other than the Chiefs didn't take it that seriously, and the Broncos are just terrible. I mean, and from a fantasy perspective, yeah, Kelce is great. Tight end 1 until he retires, probably. Rashee Rice looked good. Definitely ascending in the receiver to own in that group. I think we're finally starting to see. You definitely prefer him over Sky Moore at this point. MVS is whatever, burner. A couple weeks he'll have a long touchdown because Mahomes can bomb it. But I mean, and Pacheco is Pacheco. With he'll probably be around what he did last night, 15 points in PPR. Most games,
6 for 6 catches. That was actually pretty impressive in the evolution of his game. Yeah,
for McKinnon actually. So
yeah. Oh, and McKinnon had that one bad drop where he was gonna go far and just dropped it. Like that was at least like a 15-yarder.
And like a 20-yarder that was called back on offensive
called back.
Too.
That's right. Yeah, you could have had a much bigger game. Still only got me like 5 PPR points.
So yeah, there weren't a lot of takeaways. The only thing that we really learned, I think, is that Rice is continuing to earn more trust from Mahomes and ascend and separate himself from the rest of the receiver group. Other than that, it's all what we already knew.
Yeah, and I kind of said it, earlier too. To me, it just felt like it was the Chiefs out there practicing, basically doing a scrimmage, literally doing those, tight end flea flicker, tight end to tight end flea flickers, and remember they tried their push. What was that? They tried a fake field goal with their holder push thing from like 4th and 2. It wasn't even like 4th and inches. They're just like messing around. They're just like whatever. The Mahomes
get away with.
Yeah, that Mahomes interception was pretty bad. I couldn't believe he threw it, but their defense was like, we got you guys. Don't worry about it. And that was the crazy thing is like, they look terrible and did all this, but Mahomes still, like he said, we had Jay Media saying he only got me 18.3 points because he still threw for 300 yards. Everyone's like, we got to worry about these Chiefs wide receivers. No one's doing anything and they're all garbage or whatever, but like he still threw for 300. And Kelce only had I was going to say he only had 124 yards to Kelce, so those other yards had to go somewhere else. But yeah, that 4 for 4 for 72 yards to Rashee Rice is nice. Obviously, it would have been nice to see him in the end zone, but being a taller, one of the tallest receivers on that team, I think MVS is technically an inch taller than him, based on the their stats, so to speak. But we've seen Rice get several end zone looks in the preseason, and I think he scored 1 or 2 touchdowns so far this year. So, like you said, as he continues to gain the trust, especially down there in the red zone, he could be poised for a breakout here in the second half. Similar to possibly a Amon-Ra, Christian Watson, OBJ type guys. So, definitely should be on your roster if he's not already. Make sure he's there. We'll definitely be talking about that on the waiver wire show. We'll see on Monday. As far as on the Broncos side, they're trading everyone. Looks like they're getting ready to kind of just blow it up. I'd be,
They do need to.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Steve Smith, the whole Jerry Judy
it's funny, man.
interaction.
I saw a lot of other fantasy creators and other just general discourse kind of ripping Steve Smith for the way he criticized Judy, and I was like,
Really?
I think that's insane. Number one, I think it's fair for an analyst to criticize a player, but I feel like they were saying he was doing it because of his feelings. Like, no, like he said, he was trying to
Actually apologize for what he had said earlier.
Judy, and then Judy, you heard what Steve Smith said. I know what Jerry Judy actually said. Based on that. He did
We read in between the lines.
Yes, and I'm sorry, man. If you're going to talk like that to Steve Smith, do you know who Steve Smith is, Jerry?
Exactly.
Do you understand who the
You can't even hold Steve Smith's jockstrap, bro. Like, this dude was
not only his status as a player, but like who the kind of person Steve Smith
Yes.
is.
Like,
So,
dude, he's not a sellout. Like, that dude's for real.
You don't mess with Steve Smith. So if you're gonna do that, and I thought Steve Smith actually did a good job of not making it emotional at the end. He's like, you know what? Fine, whatever. I said what I said, and also he clearly can't take constructive criticism.
Right.
And if somebody called and asked me if they should trade for him, I'd say no. I didn't think that was anything out of line whatsoever. It was kind of cold, but nothing out of line. And then what did
you knew who he was talking about, right? You know who he was talking about who's going to call him, right?
Panthers.
The Panthers. Yeah.
And what did Judy go out and do? 3 catches for 14 yards. So who was right? Steve Smith.
And what's crazier is like that. I think it was like what, a 12-yard catch. Like before, remember he had like one nice little 12-yard catch where he caught it, kind of got that first down.
One of his
if it wasn't even for that throw, if it wasn't for that throw, he would have had even less than that. I was like, 2
catches
man.
for 1 yard before that.
It was something like that, right? Yeah, because it was like 12 or 13-yard catch.
A 3-yard loss, I believe.
So, oh man. Oh yeah, because they tried to run that little screen. Yeah. Oh, especially after that whole interaction there too. So it couldn't have happened any worse than that. So totally tanked his trade value there.
He's toast.
Toasted. And that sucks because I have him in a couple places in Dynasty, and I was like, oh man, I'm just happy the last guy. When we heard the news about him potentially getting traded, I put a couple offers out for him. So I'm kind of glad a couple other guys didn't accept my offer there. So
seriously.
We'll see how that goes. All right. So enough on the Broncos Chiefs there. Like I said, the best part about that was the Steve Smith pregame there. So let's see. Got a couple more fellas here in the chat. We have Gorilla saying he's 3-2. His opponent's in 5-0. And so he's trying to catch him slipping. So that's why he's trying to really get ahead of that whole kicker situation there. So does that change your opinion there? 3-2 going up against 5-0? Would you rather get a guy that's maybe in a dome or something like that? He says his kickers are the Miami kicker, the Rams kicker, the Texans kicker. Really, Carlson's out there?
Yeah, I would actually go pick up Carlson instead.
I was going to say,
sure.
We got hit on that for sure. Yeah, so there you go.
1 or 2 last week, but Carlson is honestly as good as a fantasy kicker gets most years. I would be very happy with Carlson.
Yeah, and then you got Rams playing at home.
Come on, whatever.
In a dome, going up against the Cardinals. That might not be a bad play either. So, if you have a spot that's open, maybe take your chance on one of those guys there. So let's see. We got Neanderthal still sticking it out with us here late, man. Appreciate you. He's saying he has Logan Thomas and Cole Kmet, but he's already starting DJ Moore. Would you start 2 Bears with Fields still unpredictable?
Probably not. And I like the matchup for Thomas. If Thomas had a worse matchup, I would roll with it because I think really the offense is Fields, DJ, Kmet. So,
and
yeah, Thomas is in a good spot. It's going to be tough for the receivers for the Commanders this week against Atlanta. So Logan would be the way I'd go this week.
Yeah, and Falcons are giving up the third most points to the tight end position right now.
Yeah.
So
That's where you have to
think
pick it up because top receivers get shut down by AJ Terrell. So
right,
it's
and
gonna be a bad
Cole
day
Kmet.
for Terry.
Yeah, Cole Kmet was kind of dealing with that calf injury all through practice this week too. Said it kind of flared up during the game. Kind of felt it a little more on Wednesday. Kind of limited. Looks like he is, saying he is going to play this week, but that could potentially flare up at any time. So I wouldn't mind going with the guy who's just coming off like a, crazy game on that Thursday night, and Logan Thomas. So, we know Bieniemy's throwing to his tight end. He's trying to use Logan Thomas, thinking he's Kelsey. I mean, that's what's killing Dotson right now. So, I'd probably roll out DJ Moore and Logan Thomas there.
Yeah, you're definitely rolling out DJ.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Will says Dallas, Detroit, Atlanta, LA Rams, or Minnesota. I'm assuming he's talking defenses here. So Dallas against Chargers, Detroit against
Tampa.
You have Atlanta. We were just talking about
Washington.
that. Versus Washington. And Rams, we were just talking about as well. Against the Cardinals. And then Minnesota against, where were they at? The Bears.
Probably Dallas or the Rams.
And I would say, yeah, they're all kind of the same there. Like my gut's telling me maybe Detroit. Ugh.
I don't know. The Buccaneers looking good. You gotta give Big Bears props. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a really tough one. Definitely not
That
the
is
Vikings.
tough.
That's for
Yeah,
sure.
so I think we can eliminate the Vikings, and I almost want to eliminate Atlanta as well too.
Yeah, Atlanta's not really in consideration here. Dallas, it's tough.
Dallas just has tough matchup.
The Chargers do Chargers things. Turnovers happen against them. Dallas creates turnovers. They're going to be coming out strong after the ass whooping we just put on them. I really do think that.
Chargers. Yeah, no, Chargers.
I think Michael Parsons is going to be out
back
for a statement game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They've still been talking about us too long. And I even kind of mentioned that when I did my guest appearance on Tuesday at the Fantasy Fan Line show. I was just like, why is it still Wednesday? At the time it was Tuesday, but I've seen stuff even as still Thursday. And they're still talking about George Kittle's shirt and blah, blah, blah. Like you and I were talking about, like, we're already turning the page onto the Browns, but all week they just still kept talking. Like it was all last week talking about Niners, Cowboys. And then all this week up until like Thursday, Friday, they're still talking Niners, Cowboys. Like
bruises last a while, I guess. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. So that's why I thought it was going to be a potential trap game for us. But now that Deshaun Watson's out, I don't think that's going to happen. No. So on this one, what's your final answer on this one? Or if you had to rank, at least the three that we're kind of thinking about here.
I think final answer, I'm taking my shot with the Rams.
All right, and I'm taking my shot with Detroit. Do we both have Dallas second?
Yes.
And then I have Rams third, and then do you have Detroit third?
I would have Detroit third, yeah.
So we're kind of just a little
Atlanta
split
fourth,
there.
Minnesota fifth, but who cares about fourth and fifth?
Right. So there you go. Even answer the defensive questions here. Here we go.
Hey,
so
I'm still in leagues with defenses, so
gotta have them. And I'm just like, I'll just throw someone in there.
At least
but
a couple.
Full disclosure, up until this week, my last 2 weeks streaming my defenses haven't been great. Both of them got me negative points. I forgot who it was that got me negative points the first week. I tried to forget about it. Last week, I picked up the Commanders everywhere going up against the Bears. Got me negative 1 points there. Literally would have been better off just starting nobody. And then this week, I streamed Kansas City in several places, and that turned out very well.
Streaming is harder than it's
having a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why, like, saying your very standard league, like a 15-round draft with a kicker and a defense, I generally go defense around 13 instead of waiting until 14 to try and get like a top 5-ish.
Yeah, I try to take my kicker and defense in 13 and 14, and then I'll just kind of grab that last like stash player guy, right there.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Too.
I had some people taking like the Niners D in like the 7th round in a couple of my home drafts. I was like, what? Crazy. Good pick, but still. I couldn't be mad at it. I loved it. There's a lot of respect, but I was like, really? So, but I could maybe sneak them in the 12th or 11th or something. I would have maybe took them there, but yeah, maybe. I'm too much of a sucker for value though. I was still taking like potential starters in the 11th and 12th. Anyway,
yeah, it's the right move.
Exactly. We got Warriors still hanging out with us, man. Still late. He's in here saying, "What do you guys think of Tank Dell rest of the season? Dealing with a concussion right now, progressing through the protocol, but has missed the last 2 weeks. Where you kind of stand here quickly?"
I mean, I like him. I
Tank
think it's going to be a lot of alternating weeks between him and Nico. Once Tank Dell is back. In general, I prefer Nico. I mean, Tank Dell's probably a wide receiver for rest of the season. So a guy, good depth piece to have fill in by weeks injuries, but probably not a guy you're going to roll out most weeks.
Yeah, I'd pretty much agree with what you're saying there. So we want to elaborate on that. He's saying, he said there's still news about Niners Cowboys. They're big rivals. He said he grew up in CA, loving both the Niners and Cowboys. They're both competitive organizations. How do you like both teams like that? It's like liking the Niners and the Raiders. Like, it's just, you can't do that. But I guess he fell for the America's team kind of thing. Interestingly enough, I had this weird little affection when I was younger for the Pittsburgh Steelers, watching them, NFL on NBC, like back in the day, like with my antenna TV, just because they were kind of always playing there and you'd see the terrible towels. I thought that was kind of cool. Cordell Stewart and the bus and all that. Like, it was just, it was fun.
Mine was the Jaguars when they came into the league. I just like I thought the Jaguars
That's
were a
different.
cool logo. Being a
that's different,
Sharks
though.
fan, I love the teal, color palette that they had.
Right.
Mark Brunell wore number 8, was left-handed, just like Steve Young at the time, who was.
There you go.
I mean, it was. I love the Jaguars, so I always have a soft spot for them.
There you go. It's just one of those things though, like in football, like again, once I kind of got older, like in other sports, like in basketball, like I don't really have a team because San Francisco doesn't really have a basketball team. I know you're a Warriors fan. I'm a Lakers fan.
In San Francisco?
Now they do.
And that's where
not when
started.
I was born. Yeah.
I mean, I know they've been open for a long time, but they started in San Francisco and came back.
Yeah. But my whole thing was when I started following it, they were in Oakland, and I couldn't like an Oakland team being a Niners fan. I just couldn't do Oakland Raiders. But I know. But you know what I'm saying.
Hurts me so much.
I know it hurts you, and we've had this discussion off air before. But obviously big time Jordan fan. My son's name's Anthony Jordan. Like that was just my team. Like it's just how it was. And then I went to Shaq.
My second favorite team for that reason too. So
right. So anyway, so I guess I get it like in other sports, but yeah, I can't do it in football, man. Like there's just too much like pride, I guess, that, and it's a violent like sport. Like to me, I can't like two teams.
More
like
tribal.
it's just that's what I mean. Yeah, it's just the whole loyalty thing. So anyway, so there we go. He said he liked him because of the players. Not gonna lie. I mean, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, I could see how you guys could fall for that, at least around our genre. I don't know how old you guys are.
I know if you're from
in here, but yeah.
No, Emmitt was cool.
Oh,
I like
he literally said Emmitt, Michael Irvin. There we go.
Yeah, come on.
And Jerry Rice too. Yeah, the thing that hurt me the most, man, was seeing Rice in a freaking Raiders jersey. That just killed me, man. Killed me.
I never hated the Raiders the way you do. I don't know.
I think it was because my dad was a Raiders fan, so it was always just like this rivalry in the house, It wasn't like brutal, but it was just like I just had to kind of play the part,
But I mean, for people of our age, the Niners have just always been better than the Raiders. It's never been like a real rivalry. They've always just been like a little brother. Like they're just there.
Right. It's kind of like the Lakers and Clippers,
Yeah,
just like they don't even care.
Rivals, but they don't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the whole, battle of the Bay kind of thing. So it's like you drew a line and you're on one side or the other. Even as a Giants fan,
that's how I feel about the A's too. Like, yeah, I guess there's a Bay rivalry. Like, I feel like they hate us more than we hate them. Like, again, they're little brother. Like,
right. Well said. Well said. He said, as a Steeler, man, I appreciate y'all bringing the Cowgirls back to reality last week. So there you go, man. That's what's up. We had to do it. So Neanderthal said, at Tycoon, the question for you, it's your show. He says, what do you think of my parlay. Oh, he's going. See, that's why he's asking you. He's asking you a betting question here. So he says, "What do you think of my parlay? Chiefs minus 10.5, Commanders plus 2.5, Saints minus 1.5, Jags minus 4, Lions minus 3, Eagles minus 7." He said his $14 will win him 700. You think he has a chance?
It has a chance, but there are two that I actually went the other way. I don't really like Commanders plus 2.5. I actually really like the Falcons in this game to cover that 2.5 here at home. And the Jets, I really love them at +7. It's actually moved to 6.5 now. That's actually one of my favorite picks of the week because I think the Jets hang close in this game. I think that sneakily is going to be your most dangerous leg there. I do, obviously the Chiefs already hit. I like the Saints, I like the Jags, I like the Lions, but I think Eagles and Commanders are the two that might give you trouble.
Yeah, and it's sitting at 6.5 now, so I don't know if he got that
Now,
extra
if you
half
got
point or
you got it at 7, that really stings because that's
yeah.
only a push. Well, it doesn't sting because you'll still collect the rest of it. It just won't give you the full 700.
Okay. See, that's more your realm. I can't answer that. So good question,
Yeah, no, if you
Neanderthal.
push on a parlay like that, well, some books will cancel the whole thing. Most do not in 2023 anymore. So it'll just be
Nice.
a slightly less payout because that leg won't count. That's all.
Okay. It's almost like you just had one less parlay on there, so to speak. All right.
Exactly.
Good stuff. All right. So we're kind of caught up in the chat. If you guys got anything else, make sure you drop it in there. We'll get to it. Otherwise, let's try to bang out some of these game previews here, and we'll get to our start sits. So let me get back up here, and let's bring it up here. So, oh yeah, and just so you guys know too, in case you were wondering, we have two teams on a bye this week, Green Bay and Pittsburgh, just to make sure I threw that up there. But let's go ahead and get to our first game here. We're going to break down.
Thankfully, not two overly significant fantasy teams.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. So by NATO next week, though, 6 teams on a bye. So make sure you guys kind of get out ahead of that. That's going to be brutal. So make sure if you haven't looked ahead yet, look ahead now while you still have time. Make sure you guys go get those guys, get them stashed, kind of have an idea of who you're going to get. Maybe you can make some early pickups here if you have some open bench spots. And just kind of plan out that next week. Interestingly, I went through and looked at mine, and several of the teams, I guess, guys that I was kind of targeting, I'm not really too affected by it. There's a couple teams I have, like both my quarterbacks in a super flex league, both on a week 7 bye, which is kind of brutal. But other than that, yeah, that kind of sucks. But other than that, actually, that one's not going to hurt me too much. But they got another big one coming up. I think week 13 or something like that is another pretty big one. So we'll see. Anyway. So we'll get here to Ravens Titans. We got the Ravens coming in at 3-2. Titans are sitting at 2-3. Opened up at Ravens -4 with a 41-point over/under, but right now, at least when I put the show sheet together, they're still sitting at -4 for the Ravens, but the over/under bumped up to 42. So looks like OBJ's ankle, he's going to be good to go. Treylon Burks didn't even make the trip. His knee, he's been ruled out. So let's start with the quarterbacks here. Are we starting? I mean, I'm sure we're sitting Tannehill. We're starting Lamar. I don't think we're going to spend too much time on that. Questions come here with the running backs. Let's start with the Ravens. Justice Hill, Gus Edwards. Do you have them as start and sits? Where are you at with them?
I know Justice Hill got more of the run last week, but I don't know. I would still go Gus in this case. If you're going to start one, but I don't know. I'm probably actually staying away from the RBs altogether. Titans are tough against the run.
Yeah. Only giving up the 21st most points there. So they're pretty good against the run. And like we said, we'd have to confirm if Simmons is playing or not. But if he's in, definitely kind of want to get away from them there.
Away.
Absolutely. So let's start with the running backs here on the Titans side. Obviously, we have Derrick Henry. Is he a must start now? And Tajay Spears, can he find his way into your lineup?
I'm still waiting a little bit on Tajay, and I'm still starting the King. I mean, slow starts are not unusual for him. Now, granted, obviously, it's harder to believe as strongly in that, given his age at this point, wear and tear. The guy has been a beast for years, but taken a lot of punishment and given it as well. So his body has definitely felt it. But I still can't jump off of the king yet. I just can't. So I'm still starting Henry with little hesitation.
Yeah, kind of had a bad game against Indy. Usually does, pretty well against them, but just put up 25 points against Cincinnati in a half PPR.
Right.
So the week before, so it's still there. Maybe it's not as consistent as it was beforehand, and maybe game script, kind of has something to do with it as well. Hopkins was kind of banged up there as well, so I'm sure they were kind of loading the boxes. Hopkins had a nice game against Indy, so we'll see. But like you said, I'm firing up Henry at this point until he has a string of terrible games.
Right.
And Tajay, I think if you want to maybe flex him if you're in a situation just because of the state of the running back position here and some of the questions we've had. I mean, he's coming off a 14-point game against Indy. 7 carries, 34 yards, but doing most of his damage in the air, 4 catches, 35 yards. Did get that touchdown, rushing touchdown last week, which threw him, into those double digits. But I like they pretty much has been seeing, 4 targets a game. So I think there's, opportunity there for him. And, he looks pretty explosive. So again, if you're in a really desperate situation with an RB2 or a flex, there's worse options you can go with there besides Spears, in my opinion. But
yeah, definitely.
So let's see. We have wide receivers. Let's start with Ravens wide receivers. OBJ, our boy Rashad Bateman, who hasn't been doing Nathan. Zay Flowers. So Zay Flowers probably are for sure start. You're going to get him in there. You have the Titans are giving up the 7th most points against wide receivers. So hopefully Flowers has a nice game here. Is OBJ or Bateman finding their way in your lineups this week at all?
No. Flowers is the only receiver I'd have interest in from the Ravens.
I agree. Flipping over the other side of the ball, we talked about. Did we talk about any? No, we didn't really. So you have basically DeAndre Hopkins.
Question, but
that was probably about it. So how do you feel about Hopkins? A little further removed from that ankle.
I would start Hopkins
playing on it. Okay. I agree. I have him in several places. He's just kind of a set it and forget it type guy for me until I see something totally crazy. He's still been putting up numbers, on a flat wheel. Yeah, big week last week, has a flat wheel going on. So
before that, but it was a good sign.
Yeah, it's coming together. So yeah, he's still a good guy. For me to flex wide receiver 3 flex spot, pretty much kind of where you drafted him. So to me, it's not too much risk getting him in your lineup. Let's see, tight end position here. You got Chig on one side. Obviously, Andrews we're starting there. So let's just talk about Chig. Finally got involved last week. Do you think that was an aberration? Is he worth starting? Is he streamable?
No,
you pretty much
I don't really have any interest in Chig. No, I'm sitting him.
Yeah.
Ravens are very strong against tight ends.
Least amount of points to tight end position right now.
Yeah, so they're the best against tight ends. Exactly.
So yeah, you're sitting Chig. So there we go. All right, so we'll move on here. Again, if you guys got questions,
game number 2, let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna try to bang out a couple of these, and then we'll get to the chat again. So we'll move on to the next one. We have the Commanders sitting at 2-3, visiting the Falcons at 3-2. Who would have thunk that? We had the Atlanta coming in at 2.5-point favorites with a 42-point over/under, currently sitting at the same 2.5 line there with a 42.5-point over/under. As far as injuries in this one, pretty healthy game. Everyone's pretty much available, ready to go. Curtis Samuel's dealing kind of with a little finger issue apparently during the week, but he's good to go. So we'll start here with the quarterbacks, Howell and Ritter. I mean, super flex leagues, maybe you're throwing these guys in. Otherwise, I'm pretty much sitting them. What about you?
Exactly. Super flex, yeah, you probably need to start both, but I have zero interest in single QB in either of these guys.
Well said. We'll move on to the running back position. Let's start with the Commander side of the ball. You got Brian Robinson. You got Antonio Gibson, who I don't think even recorded a carry last week. Did all of his damage in the air. Are you starting one, both, or none of these guys?
No, Falcons are, I think, second best against the position in fantasy. I don't have any interest in Brian Robinson this week, and with the way the Falcons run the ball, I mean, Bijan's automatic. And this might even be a spot for Algier, but probably not, actually. I think it's going to be as run heavy as they are. I think we'll see a little bit more through the air just because that's more of a weakness for Washington. So really just Bijan for me on the Atlanta side.
Yeah, specifically the deep balls against Washington is where they've been giving up a lot of their points. Yeah, just to wrap up the running backs, I'm with you. Bijan and is pretty much the only running back I would like if you're in a situation with Ryan Robinson. I could see why you would need to start him. So that's my running back take. Moving on to the wide receivers, like you said, with the Falcons first. They're giving up that deep ball. So maybe London could be a sneaky, pick here. Pitts' targets are typically downfield. I believe his ADOT's like over 13 yards or something crazy like that. And again, that's where Washington has been susceptible, is in that deep pass. They've given up the third most fantasy points in half PPR to the wide receiver position. So if you're going to start, London, and I'll just even include Pitts in there as far as your pass catchers on tight end. Maybe they might have a good week this week.
As far as matchups go for the Falcons, this is, one of the better ones they'll get. So, yeah, if you have London or Pitts, this is a week to play them.
Yeah, and if they don't do good here, then they're pretty much relegated the bench after this one. So let's flip over the Commander side of the ball and the wide receiver position. You have your Jahan Dotson, of course, Scary Terry. Tight end position, Logan Thomas, who we've been talking about as far as pass catchers. So let's start with those wide receivers. Dotson. I don't know. I keep putting Dotson first, but let's go Terry. Give him his respect he's due. Terry, Dotson, and Samuel. Start sit. Those guys.
As much as I love Terry in real life, I'm really not interested in starting any of these this week. In fact, one of my prop picks this week is Terry McLaurin under 52.5 receiving yards, where his line is set. So from a fantasy perspective, the fact that his line is only at 52.5 yards, he'll probably draw AJ Terrell in coverage most of the afternoon. So, and Terrell, I think, is a criminally underrated cornerback. I think he is shut down. So I want no part of him or really anything against this Falcons secondary while Washington is on the road. So I want no Commanders receivers.
Yeah, if you can avoid it, you want to. I'd be sitting him as well. The Falcons are, 6th against the pass or fantasy points to wide receivers allowed. They've given up the 6th least amount of points there, 27th most, depending on how you want to look at that. And so if I can get away from them, I would. But I could see, just based on where you drafted Terry, if you have to kind of get him in your lineup, you may have to if you're in one of those situations. But maybe you picked up. Let me ask you: would you play Jordan Addison over Scary Terry?
Yes.
All right, and then let's get a little harder. Brandon Powell over Scary Terry.
No.
Okay, I just had to see. No.
It's always good to find that baseline.
Yeah, exactly. So just make sure people aren't getting too crazy out there.
With these waiver wire pickups. It's just not going to be much.
Yeah. So Logan Thomas, we have him as a start, right? Falcons giving up the third most fantasy points to the tight end position.
Easy start, especially if you're streaming tight ends.
For sure. So there we go. All right, so we'll move on here. We'll do one more, and then we'll get to the chat. Whatever's in there, I see there's a couple messages in there. I'm on a different screen, so I can't see them yet. Hopefully there's some good questions or contributions. Maybe you can let me know there.
A couple.
But there we go. Okay, good to know. So let's move on. We'll go Vikings, sitting interestingly at 1-4 versus the Bears, also 1-4. So we got the unstoppable force versus the immovable object, I guess, in this one. So someone's going to have to come out of this with the second win of the year. We have Minnesota starting with the 2.5 point favorites. Yeah, I guess so. Watch it be a tie now because I said that. Over under at 44 points is where it opened. Looks like Minnesota went up to a 3-point favorite, and over under sitting at 43.5. Just one note on this. I don't know if you guys saw, but Kevin Seifert from ESPN reported on Twitter or X or whatever you're calling it nowadays that Justin Jefferson said he jogged through the Vikings locker room, and he said and his jog is my sprint. He looked pretty spry. Thus ends my rehab coverage today. End quote. So obviously they put him on IR. He's going to miss 4 games, but that speculation of him maybe being out for the season is just that, some speculation. So if you were able to make a trade, which fortunately I was able to do in one of my leagues sitting at 4-1, I was actually able to trade Puka Nakua straight up for a hurt Justin Jefferson to a 2-3 team. I was pretty happy about that. Yeah, I was pretty happy about that. I was stacked at wide receiver already. So Justin Jefferson's going to be in there with, I think I have like Devontae Adams and is it Jamar Chase? I don't know. I got pretty good wide receivers sitting in that team right now. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Like my dynasty team. Let's go.
Oh, see, there we go. This is just a regular redraft.
More like yours, actually. Jefferson specifically.
Yeah, no, I have that Chase Jefferson in the dynasty there, but it's brutal right now. I got off to a terrible start in that league. I don't know what's going on. My whole team's falling apart.
Dig AJB, and DJ
right?
Moore.
Yeah, shout out to you. You're in there.
Feeling
We're all chasing you right now.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
And Nick is like, he's just still winning. I don't know how he's doing it in that league, man. He just keeps on winning.
His team obviously is good, but like on paper, it's just not the same level, but it still always makes it happen.
Just produces. Yeah, he just has somebody. Yeah.
He's a hell of a coach.
Back-to-back champion.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like
back-to-back champion. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
A little asterisk there. I'm giving him the asterisk against me last year because I had the whole Chase Burrow stack debacle week 17.
That caused a lot of issues,
Yeah, so that was terrible. But anyway, we'll move on. So we have Jordan Addison. He was dealing with the ankle issue. He's good to go. In this one, on the other side of the ball, you have the 2 running backs we've been talking about here, Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson. Obviously, Herbert dealing with that high ankle sprain. He's out, been placed on IR today. You got Roshan Johnson dealing with that concussion. He's been ruled out, even though it was suffered last Thursday. So pretty much the leagues, anyone who's pretty much getting a concussion is missing a game for the most part this year.
They're definitely being more conservative with concussions this year. I've noticed that as well.
Absolutely. So if you get a guy that gets a concussion, one of these games this Sunday, just basically expect him, plan accordingly for him to be gone next week. And if he plays, great, but pretty much be ready for that. So let's start quarterbacks here. You have obviously Cousins and Fields here. We kind of talked about at least Fields a little bit here in this show. You have the Vikings giving up the 7th most points to the quarterback position, and then on the Bears side, they're giving up the most points to the quarterback position here. So do you pretty much have both these guys as a start here in one QB?
Yeah, no question. I mean, unless you got like who we had the comment from earlier with Tua on the same team as Fields. I mean, you're
that's close.
These guys.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll move on here to the running backs, where you probably have a lot of questions here. We've been taking about Donta Foreman on the Bears side, and then Alexander Madison on the Vikings side. You have little Cam Akers there, and I don't even know what other running back's going to get touches for the Bears. I don't even know who's 4th on their depth chart there. Maybe you can help me out with that. But are we out of those? Let's just say those 3 guys: Foreman, Madison, and Akers. Who do you have as starts, and who do you have as sits?
Foreman, and I actually do like Madison this week. I'm generally not much of a fan of, but I do think this is a good spot for Foreman. I mean, for Madison. I'm sorry. The Bears are weak,
3rd most fantasy points to running back.
Well, and especially as they get into the red zone, it may benefit Hawk, obviously, as tight end, but I mean, Jefferson was the main target. I mean, instead of even running close in, even inside the 5, they would still look to throw to Jefferson. Without Jefferson, I think that could benefit Madison most, at least when they're in close.
Right. Like within the 5 or something like that. Right.
So I think
because remember they
probability shoots way up.
Yeah, I love like when they were inside the 10 and they would put Jefferson in the backfield and have him run that little option route or, a quick out, kind of speed out. Yeah, or a wheel kind of type thing. Or one of those sluggo type, routes or whatever they call it, where you kind of fake like you're doing a slant, and then you kind of hit that hard, open up those hips and hit the hard out. God, what is that called? I used to know what that was called. It's late. It's already late for us here. But yeah, so there you go for there. I'm pretty much with you there. Starting Foreman if you need to. and Madison I do like as well. Akers I'm sitting for sure.
That
So
Akers just don't even bother ever.
absolutely. So we'll move on to wide receivers here. You have obviously on the Vikings side with Jefferson down, you have Addison, you have KJ Osborne, and you have Brandon Powell. So let's just start with those three. Start or sit those guys.
I'm starting Addison, no question.
Agreed.
Probably not Powell. If you need the help, maybe Osborne, but really, Addison's the only one that's attractive to me this week.
Yeah, and I have
I
Addison
think
like top
Hawk's really going to
15.
be the biggest beneficiary here.
Yeah, agreed. And yeah, Bears are 8th against the tight ends, or giving up the 8th most fantasy points to tight ends right now. They're giving up the 12th most points to the wide receiver position. So yeah, I have Addison pretty high. Hopefully, he has a big game there. On the other side of the ball, we're obviously starting DJ Moore and pretty much no other Bears wide receiver.
Mhm. Every week, yes, that's the answer.
Agreed. Easy. And then we kind of talked about Komet. Obviously, we're starting Hawk. Komet, if you're in a bind, dealing with
Yeah.
that calf injury. I don't know why I didn't mention that earlier. I apologize, but yeah, Komet dealing with that little calf.
Yeah, you could probably do better, but you could also do a lot worse than commit.
Agreed. Well said. He's kind of like in that 12 to 15 type range for
Yeah.
me.
Exactly.
So let's see.
Fringe.
Absolutely. We'll do one more and then we'll get in the chat here just for the sake of time. I realize it's almost 2 a.m. For us here, we're really burning that midnight,
No
1
kidding.
a.m. oil at this point. So again, appreciate you for coming
I
on.
did want to throw one thing back in there because I had a prop
please.
pick for Vikings game as well. TJ
Yeah, do
Hawkinson
it.
over 5.5 receptions, minus
Ooh, let me
110.
say it one more time. Well, I have the thing up.
TJ Hawk over 5.5 receptions.
There you go. Ooh, that's it. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That seems
Hopefully
almost
it
like a
hasn't gone
no-brainer.
up, but that's what it
Yeah, I
was
was gonna
last
say.
night.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer there. That's easy. With all those targets vacated, Jefferson's
You would
averaging
think.
what, eight catches a game?
Yeah,
On
like 10
average right
targets,
now?
11 targets. So
Yeah, crazy. Good stuff. All right, so we'll move on to Seahawks 3-1, visiting the Bengals at 2-3. Opened up at -3 for Cincinnati, favored with a 45.5 point over/under. Currently sitting still with Cincinnati, favored by 3, but moved down a bit to a 45 point over/under. You had Geno Smith dealing with the knee issue. He practiced in full today. He's good to go. DK Metcalf was dealing with a little rib issue. He's good to go. And then on the other side of the ball, you have T. Higgins also dealing with the rib fracture. Zach Taylor says it's going to be a game time decision. He's listed as questionable. Just be careful with Higgins because he's done this to us before, going active,
Yes.
kind of playing a series, and then just they end up sitting him. So
I think he's going to go, but I still wouldn't start him.
there we go. So we'll back up. We'll just start with wide receivers there. Why not? So we're sitting T. Higgins. We're obviously starting Chase. No, you're good. Tyler Boyd, yea or nay?
Yeah, no, I'm starting Boyd. Yes.
Okay, so starting Boyd, even if Higgins plays or is active.
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't trust Higgins in this game.
I think I agree.
Very scared off of that. And I'll
Yeah, I think I
explain a
agree.
little bit more about Higgins when we talk about QBs.
Okay, cool.
Or I mean, about Boyd when we talk about QBs.
Okay. So let's just do it now. Roll right into it.
So my favorite prop pick of the entire week is Joe Burrow over 274.5 passing yards. The Seahawks have allowed a 300-yard passer in 3 of their 4 games this year. The only quarterback who hasn't done it is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones threw for 203 yards in their matchup, which was his second best output of the year behind only that Cardinals comeback, which, whatever. So, and Seattle has also been very good against the run. So it's very much a pass funnel offense. Burrow's going to be slim. Questions around Higgins, but I really like the spot Boyd is in, so that's why I'd say start Boyd. And definitely.
Very cool. I was kind of delayed here for a second, but I think I'm back now. Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
I can hear you, but you're a little pixelated. There you
Interesting.
go.
Got a little
There we go.
glitch in the matrix there.
You're good now.
All right, cool. So pretty much agree with what you say there. The only thing I disagree with is I'm probably not starting Boyd, just because like the only one I really feel comfortable right now with is Chase. So yeah, but other than that, I'm good. Let's flip over to the other side of the ball. You have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and JSN. Metcalf, I assume we're all pretty much starting. Lockett hasn't really had that great of a season so far. So tell me about Lockett and JSN.
Well, JSN is droppable, frankly. So
Okay.
I wouldn't really worry about him. If you have Lockett, you probably do need to start him. He's kind of one of those guys that if you have him, you just kind of have to start him every week because he is a guy who largely thrives on those huge, huge games. And when he has them, they are huge, huge games.
Right.
So start him. And DK, yeah, you also kind of have to start him if you have him. He's a guy I'm a little bit down on this week. I actually have the under on his receiving yards of 62.5. But he'll do enough to be useful. And again, you probably don't have a better option. So you're still going to start him.
Right. And all right. So and I pretty much agree with that too. Like to me, Lockett's more like a flex versus like a wide receiver 2-3. I'd have him more like a flex play if you were going to start him. And then DK Metcalf to me is wide receiver 2. You know, if you need him as a wide receiver 3, but pretty much wide receiver 2, I feel comfortable with it. And yeah, JSN. I have one league where I'm starting him where we're like 3 wide receiver and 2 flex, and I'm kind of in a weird situation and have to throw him in there just to see. Because I had like
62
Sanders
yards all year. He's
yeah. The only thing that's
much.
So the only thing is obviously he was dealing with the wrist issue coming into the season. You know, maybe he wasn't totally healthy. A lot of his catches have been like behind the line or real close to the line. Doesn't really have a big, A dot. Getting all real nerdy and statty now at this time. But coming out of the bye week, maybe they installed some more plays with him. You know, maybe that wrist is healed up a little more. You know, maybe they didn't want to, put him through too much. Obviously, his draft stock's there. The capital was there that they spent on him. He's seen time, on the field, so to speak. So there's a chance that he could come out here and have a decent game. However, Bengals are pretty good against wide receivers. So
rebuttal, on at least especially for this week is good pass defense. He's still the number 3 and will be the number 4 passing option this week because they're also a sieve against tight end. So it's going to be a good week for Fant.
5th most
and
points.
He's not going to overtake Metcalf or Lockett at any point this season.
No.
There's nothing there right now, and there's not.
I'm just hoping he gets I'm just hoping he gets like 3 catches for like 30 and a touchdown. Like I'd be happy with that.
If he gets a touchdown, you'll luck out. If he doesn't get a touchdown, it will literally be a useless line. So
absolutely,
I wish the best for you, brother. Kind of.
Thank you, man.
I also really hope the Seahawks just get smashed as a 49ers fan. But
there you go. Yeah. So your hatred for the Seahawks is like my hatred for the Raiders. And you're okay with you're okay with the Raiders, and for whatever reason, I have this like affinity with the Seahawks for some reason right now. I don't know.
No.
Now that like Russ is gone, like I love the whole Geno and DK, and I love Lockett.
Without Russ, they are way more like.
That's what I mean. 100%. Yeah, that's why I'm just like, yeah. That's why I'm like, I kind of have like this weird little.
No, the current players on the team are way better than the 2010 teams. I can tolerate these guys a lot more. like Lockett. I don't have anything against Geno. DK, is DK. He's kind of funny, but
yeah. I really like DK, man. Like I've like watched interviews and stuff with him, like off the field and stuff. I think he's just a cool dude. So
catch it with my abs.
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that. Like that's great. All right, so we haven't talked about quarterbacks. So we have of course Geno and Burrow. Burrow finally had a good game. Did we talk about him? I thought we skipped right to wide receiver.
We got left.
Oh, okay. But yeah, just real quick, Geno, I'm starting, and I'm starting Burrow. Yeah, I'm starting. So yeah, tight ends. You already said Fant. You think's going to have a good game. Bengals are giving up the 5th most fantasy points.
Prime option this week.
There you go. And on the other side of the ball, Irv Smith. Are we doing anything with Irv Smith Jr. over there? All right, so he's a 6. So there we go. So that'll wrap up Seahawks Bengals. And I didn't realize what game was going to be after this one, so I'm not going to take a break before we get to our game. So let's just bang this thing out. We got Niners at Browns. Niners coming in at 5-point favorites with the 37.5-point over under. Currently bumped up to a 9.5-point favorites, sitting at a 30. Oh, is it 10 even now? Okay, let's go. Keep it going. So 10-point favorites here. A lot of money must have came in on, on San Francisco
As
over
soon
5.
as
But
Watson was out, like this.
I was gonna say, it had to do with the Deshaun Watson. So yeah, sitting at 36.5 points as well now. Again, all probably affected by the Deshaun Watson news, dealing with the shoulder, ruled out for his second game, even coming out of a bye week. PJ Walker's going to make the start. Also, Stefanski says David Njoku is doing well. He's dealing with those burns to his face and hands. I don't know if you guys have seen the Twitter post. It was kind of crazy, and I don't know if you guys saw him come into the game, not last week before. Of course, they were on a bye last week, but week 5
the hardest fit
in that Hollow Man. Yeah, that Hollow Man mask with just his abs hanging out and that like fur coat,
shirtless
like
with that jacket toes. Oh,
I can't.
One of the sickest pictures, sickest walk-ins I've ever seen.
That was badass, dude. Like that was so badass.
And now
So
knowing
yeah,
what was under that mask, dude, props to him for even playing. Like
really
different breed.
It was
different
crazy.
Breed.
Seriously, like that, and he had like his best game of the year. Like that was even more incredible about it. And not only that, his hands were burnt too, and he has to catch with them and stuff. So, I mean, just incredible. Like that's a football player. Like he literally made me a fan after this. Like those are the kind of dudes you want to root for.
I already liked him. No, he's like legendary to me.
Exactly. So I'm like, I think I might have to go with the Njoku Halloween costume this year. So I might have to go find me one of those masks and find like one of those ab shirts because I ain't got no abs going on.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I should just rock it out that way, right? And then throw the fur coat on or something. So we'll see. Maybe if we hit like 1,500 subs or something, I'll by the time we get here, maybe I'll do it. I'll post my Twitter pic.
Let's go.
Just like 2 weeks. If we can, I'll do it. Yeah, I would do that for 500 subs in 2 weeks. So with that said, I don't even know where we're at with that. We kind of went off the rails there for a second, but we're sitting PJ Walker, Brock Purdy against this defense. Browns have given up the third least amount of points to the quarterback position.
Nasty. As much as I love our offense and believe, but between that and the weather, honestly, I'm probably not really rushing to start Brock this week.
I think I'd have to agree. If you have other options, go ahead and do it, which you probably should do. Brock wasn't really drafted as like a top 12 guy anyway.
Right.
If you happen to be starting him the last couple weeks because of his hot start, this is definitely a game to potentially get away from him. Maybe you picked up Brock because, Burrow was doing terrible and you've been throwing him in there instead. Definitely would go back, to Burrow this week instead of starting him against this defense. And like you said, with the weather, that's going to be an issue as well. So let's go on to the running backs. We're obviously starting CMC. You don't need to talk about that. What are we doing with Jerome Ford? I have him as a sit.
Absolutely a sit.
There we go. Kareem Hunt sitting as well, or you think some negative game script might help him out?
No, I'm sitting Hunt too.
Okay.
There's
go ahead.
I know we go position by position, but man, there's just not a lot of startable guys in this game in general.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to say the names. That's what's kind of important in these start sits. Just make sure you kind of say the names for people. And I just hate doing the whole sit all Browns and start all Niners kind of thing. Like that's just a lazy
sometimes, so I'm guilty.
Yeah, that's okay. Not saying you're lazy. To me, it's a lazy take. I like to at least make sure we're cover as many names as we can.
I'll still list the names, but I'll always start with if it's a extreme, I'll just say sit fucking everybody or whatever.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. So where were we at? Wide receivers, Samuel, Ayuk. We're starting them.
I'm not starting Debo. I would probably still start Ayuk in this game, but I don't think I'm starting Debo.
Yeah, decoy Samuel, as they've been calling him lately, dealing with this knee.
Going to be very low scoring, low grind type of game, slow pace. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of yards and points out there in general. I think they'll be highly
Isn't that like Debo's style, like that nasty weather, just hard nose, pounded in? Like to me, this seems like a Debo game more than
Kyle
an
gives him some rushing
game.
work, maybe.
Right.
And maybe with the weather, maybe they lean a little more on screens. Maybe it is more Debo than Ayuk. I don't know. Ayuk's just been so impressive. It's hard for me to fathom sitting him at this point, but
yeah. I think I'm in a situation where I'm starting Debo and I'm starting Ayuk if I got him, just because I'm rolling him out there. But could be a little bit of fan bias there. Full disclosure to everybody there. Let's move on to the other
We
side.
don't hide
Okay.
it, so.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's there. So just to let you guys know. So on the other side of the ball, you got Cooper, you got Donovan Peoples-Jones, and you have Elijah Moore. I have them all as sits this week.
Sit them
Again,
all, sit all Browns. Sorry.
Let's go. No, there we go. Njoku, are you sitting him? We've been a little susceptible to the tight end position.
You think
Actually,
I don't
not
think
really.
so?
No,
Fred
not at
Warner's
all.
the best coverage
I forgot.
linebacker in
Yeah, and we
football.
got
He's the best linebacker
Hufanga.
in football,
Yeah,
but
no, exactly. I take that all back. I apologize.
no, I'm
Yeah,
not starting him.
we're sitting everybody.
And I'm not starting Kittle either. Kittle had his amazing game against the Cowboys, 3 for 3, max efficiency, maximum fun. But it's
Maximum shirt.
he's legend, love it.
Legendary
But
shirt.
man, he's but he's also big game George. He does that in those huge highlight spotlight games.
Yeah.
In this game, it's just going to be dirty George. He's going to be pancaking people, laughing his ass off. That's how this game's going to go for Kittle.
We just need to get in there, get the win, and get the hell out of there healthy. Like that's all I care about. So we'll do that. So that'll wrap up that game, man. Nothing too much else there. Let's get into this chat here and see everyone's going crazy. Man, we got like 20 more comments in here. We'll see how it goes.
I think
So where do we leave off?
Warrior Law
Yeah.
about the Lions.
There we go. So Lions are not the healthiest at the moment. Do you guys like the Lions or the Bucks to win? I got the
still
Lions.
like the Lions.
There we go. We'll try to fly through these as quickly as possible. We got Taco Cheese in the house saying, "Hey guys, have a trade question. Full PPR. Got offered Cup for Waddle and Aaron Jones. Is that a smash? Also, do you think Gibbs is going to turn up anytime this season?" So take the first one first. Cup for Waddle and Aaron Jones.
I would keep Waddle and Jones myself. Cup is great. Cup is Cup. I mean, right back where he left off, obviously, this week in his return. But I do think there is a return of fortune for Waddle. Excuse me. I think things are going to improve for him in a big way. The offense is just too good. And Aaron Jones, once he's healthy again, I mean, Dylan is not good. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, like
the whole offense has basically been suffering.
But yeah, without Jones, yeah, that offense is rough. But with Jones, even Love was looking pretty good. So
yeah, I mean, Jones was the RB1 last time we seen him healthy.
Yeah, he's one of the best running backs in the league, frankly. So you definitely want to keep him on your team once he's healthy. So yeah, give me the 2 studs over the 1.
For sure. We have Red Solo Cup saying, "Let's go. The FF goats in here. Y'all got me in first in 2 of my leagues, LFG. So let's go, baby. That's what's up." Solo Cup, appreciate that. We have FS Season dropping in here saying the Graveyard Hour streams. That's what we're doing. I just realized I'm actually working tomorrow. I'll be at work at like 9 in the morning. I totally forgot. Yeah, I totally forgot. So that's all right. I'll be all right. I'm supposed to be manager on duty tomorrow. So like once a month we gotta rotate. So I took Tuesday off.
MOD, that means you're in charge, man. You can coast. You're good to go.
That's what I mean. And the best part is we haven't had a receptionist for a while. So I've had to be the receptionist at the front desk, greeting everybody in, stuff like that. Just kind of as a manager, just kind of making sure everything's cool. But I might be able to kind of sneak back into my office for a little while and kind of just kick it in there for a bit. So till I fully wake up, but we'll see how it goes. No, I'll be all right. So let's see. He said he's about to be 6-0 like Mike. So let's go. There it is. Shout out. Solo Cup. Squidward did make it back in here. What's up, Squidward? He says, is Barkley even a starter if he plays with that offense? We have him as a sit, I believe. At least I do. I don't know about Tycoon.
Yeah, I probably do too.
There you go.
In a couple of leagues, I'll be desperate and praying we get news early enough that I could maybe slide him in. But in general, yeah, without DJ against the Bills, no.
Yeah, I'll look elsewhere. We got Bronson Heo in here. He says, do y'all answer trade and start sit questions? We absolutely do, man. We're here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday. And that's all we do, man. We just kind of hit a part right there where we needed to bang out some games because it's at almost 2 a.m. for us here. We're doing a late night stream. Normally we were on a little earlier, but we had a little bit of life stuff kind of going on there. So we still wanted to get the show out to you guys, especially since we just hit 1,000 subscribers. And hopefully you'll be able to subscribe to us here too. I think you did ask a couple questions here, which we'll get to. So Solus Cup said Barkley is a start. Yes, I think we're disagreeing with that there. But Bronson has a trade question. He says trade JT and T Law for Lamb and Puka with Pierce or Madison or Brian Robinson. So I'll try to reset that there. Trade JT and T Law for Lamb or Puka with Pierce or Madison or Brian Robinson.
So yeah, with one of those two
like
receivers
a 2 for
plus
3.
one of those wide receiver or running backs. No, it's still 2 for 2. And no, I would keep JT
yeah,
and
Lamb
T-Law.
or Puka. Yeah, I think I take my chances with JT and T-Laws where they're there too. I'm not getting off T-Law this early. He's probably drafted as your QB1, even if it was especially if it was super flex, you're not doing it. But even in a 1 QB, I'm still holding on to Law. And then he says start Addison or JT. I'm going Addison.
This
JT
week,
should be
Addison.
getting more work, but yeah, I'm going Addison in this one. Drunk Squidward saying feed Walker, so probably in response to our other one there.
Gross,
Neanderthal.
yes.
Yeah. Tin Man standard. He has Ridley, DJ, Ayuk, Pickens, and Gabe. But Nico's on the wire. Nico's on the wire? It is 10 team, but he says, should I drop Davis or Pickens to grab him?
I want to say drop Gabe for him, but Gabe's been hot lately, so it's hard to say that right now.
DJ's coming back. Pickens is on a bye right now.
Getting rid of Ridley, DJ. Really no, I don't.
I'm not the biggest Pickens fan, so for me
neither,
personally,
but he's been coming through. But it's been basically
but DJ's
based on
not
some
here.
big plays. So
DJ's
with Johnson coming back, I would drop Pickens for Nico. Yeah,
I think I would.
You're right,
because Nico's the one, and DJ's going to be the one when he comes back.
Right.
So there you go. Drunk Squidward were saying there will be a Jason breakout game sometime soon. I'm hoping for it, man. Hopefully it's this week when I have to just spot start him because I'm in a weird position.
Yeah,
so
I don't think
I'm
that's
right
happening.
there with you.
But I'm going to buy low in Dynasty at the end of the year when he ends up with like 300 yards for the season.
Right. That'll be a good spot. I seen even Tim, you're in the Scott Fish Bowl with him. One of the biggest Jason fans, like drafted him basically everywhere he could in Dynasty, and he put him on the block this week. Interestingly enough, on a rebuild team. So I was pretty shocked on that.
I know we keep getting distracted, but another sidebar for anybody that is playing Dynasty, do not sell on JSN right now. He really is going to be. He's going to be great. Where he's at right now should have been expected. Again, very run-heavy team. He's behind 2 excellent veterans. To think he was going to overtake DK or Lockett in his first year, I think was
crazy.
An insane take. Yeah, so just be patient. He'll be there. So if you have him in Dynasty, and when you drafted him with a top 5 pick, without doubt, just keep him.
Yeah. Not everyone's going to be JJ and Chase. Yeah. Not everyone's just going to come out and be like a top 5 wide receiver, like right out of the bit. Yeah. Those are unicorns, which is why they shouldn't even be tradable, in all honesty. Drunk Squidward's agreeing with you that no offense is going to be a sleeper. So there we go. We got Kieran in here. What's up, man? Good to see you again. He says Brown shut down the run defense, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to stop the 49ers passing game. And that includes CMC in that passing game too. So I think he'll be fine.
The best against receivers so far this year, and the weather's going to be horrible. So I don't know how. I mean, I love our offense, obviously. We're the real deal, but
right. Yeah, Myles Garrett is a monster. What's crazy, man? I got an IDP league, so I have Hendrickson from Cincinnati. I have Aiden Hutchinson, and I have Myles Garrett, and I can't figure out which one to sit this week, and I think I'm sitting Myles Garrett. Crazy. Like, I can't believe I have to sit Myles Garrett. Right? I'm like, not bad. Shout out to Dynasty Pylon helping me out with my IDP over there. So trying to come up in the world here on the IDP side. So there we go. Bronson says start 2, T-Law, Purdy, Geno, or Stafford. So I think I'm going to go Stafford and T-Law.
Me too.
Kind of like Stafford this week. So there we go. Neanderthal says he can't drop anyone else. His running backs are Henry, Kamara, Swift, Kyron Williams, and Jerome Ford. So yeah, I think Pickens still the guy to go there because he lost Chubb. Yeah, there you go. And then Bronson says y'all still wouldn't do the trade I asked earlier, even though I have 3 other quarterbacks.
I guess
so
it
let's go
depends on
back
what
to
the
that
other
one there.
3 quarterbacks are. But I don't
You
know.
have
I just
3
wouldn't
other.
really want.
Oh, and a super flex, and he has 3 other quarterbacks. You're rocking 4 quarterbacks and a super flex. I
Well, I
like
don't
it.
know if it's a super flex. Did you say it was?
I would assume you can't have 4 quarterbacks in a 1 QB league, can you?
I mean, you could.
That'd
You
be.
shouldn't, but you could.
I was like, that would be outrageous, right? So going back to it, he says trade JT and T Law for Lamb or Puka
I
with
mean, if you have
Pierce,
another,
Madison.
top 12 guy, then maybe worth it to try and bring in Lamb.
Yeah. Like if anything,
I don't
like if
know.
you're just trying to get rid of a quarterback, like maybe just trade T Law or one of those other quarterbacks for like Lamb or Puka just straight up and just take JT out of it. Because like why downgrade from
Yeah, it
JT to
wouldn't.
Pierce, Madison, or Brian Robinson? Like that's the
Right.
issue for me. That if you have 3 other
Oh,
quarterbacks and T Law, then yeah. Oh,
so it
he
is 2
responded there.
QB, he says.
Oh, okay, so it's a 2 QB. Oh, it's the same ones he was asking like who to start right there.
Um,
Oh, see,
so in that
like
case, yeah, I mean, I would do
trade.
what Anthony said. I would try to see if you could just trade T-Law and try and bring in one of those receivers and keep JT.
I'd maybe even try to maybe trade Geno because we talked
Yeah,
about their schedule that they have coming up against the Niners and
that
just
too.
all those tough defenses. So maybe if you could trade Geno for Puka, which in a 2 QB league, you should easily be able to do that if they're hurting for a quarterback. So Geno for Puka, would you do that? I kind
Yeah,
of
I
like
would.
Puka over Lamb, but yeah, I think that would work. Hopefully, work for both of you guys. Unless he's
Yeah,
really
no,
trying to get JT, but I wouldn't do that. You hold the cards there with the
yeah,
quarterback. You have the
yeah,
leverage. So if not,
100%.
just hoard those QBs, and he'll come around. He got Puka off the wire, so he should trade Geno for you. So get that done. Let us know if that works, Bronson. So yeah, so we're caught up there. Let's try to bang out the rest of these games here. We will move on. I think with our next game is the Saints game. So we'll do Saints sitting at 3-2 at the Texans, who are 2-3. And Tycoon, if you do need to go, man, because it is getting late, you're more than welcome. You've already done well more than anything I could even ask of you, man, coming on this late.
I'm still
But I
good
know.
for the moment.
Okay, you just let
Hopefully,
me
I can
know.
make it to the end. Maybe I'll have
Yeah.
to tap out, but for now, I'm still good.
All right, we'll try. We're only like halfway through, so we'll try to bang these out a little quicker. But yeah, so I'll reset that for the chapters. So let me reset that here. Next game is going to be Saints 3-2 at the Texans, who are 2-3. Opened up Saints at -1.5, over under 42.5, and I have it at least set the same. Let me know if that's different. We have Derek Carr was dealing with that shoulder. Okay, perfect. Derek Carr was dealing with the shoulder. He's good to go. Chris Olave was dealing with that toe that he hurt in pregame last week. He's off the injury report. He's good to go. On the Texan side of the ball, just Tank Dell dealing with that concussion we talked about earlier. Said he was upgraded to a limited status in practice today, but he's basically all been but officially ruled out, but making progress through the protocol from what they're saying. So Carr and CJ Stroud, do you have either of them as a start this week in 1 QB?
No, not in 1 QB. I don't.
All right. I think
Maybe Stroud, but nah.
I was gonna say I have to start Stroud because I have. Who do I have? Someone I have is either hurt or some situation I got going on.
I
But
feel
yeah,
more comfortable with Stroud, but yeah.
yeah. So Stroud there over Carr. So we'll go Kamara. We're starting him.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Texans giving up the 9th most points to fantasy points to the running back position
Kamara,
at the moment.
anytime he's active, is going to be a start.
Absolutely. Damian Pierce, we starting him going up against this Saints defense, who's pretty good against the run.
Yeah, with most teams' rosters, they'll probably have to be the best option, but not somebody I would be looking to start this week if I could avoid it. No.
Yeah, I think I have him ranked more in the flex range versus like that RB2 range. So, but like you said, based on where you drafted him and your team construction and everything that's going on with the running backs right now. So let's say, would you start Devonta Foreman over
I'd
Pierce?
start Foreman over Pierce this week. Yes.
What about Shuba?
Yes.
All right, there you go. I think that tells the people where we're at. Wide receivers. We're starting Olave.
Yep.
What about Shaheed? Mike Thomas?
Probably. I'm starting Mike Thomas if you need a floor for a receiver. Otherwise, no. Shaheed if you need a home run. Otherwise, no.
Fair.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Texans side of the ball, you got Nico, and I don't know who else is going to even be catching balls over there.
Robert Woods.
Oh yeah, you got Woods.
And Nico's the only guy I'm looking for.
I think so. Yeah, have him kind of like that wide receiver 3 flex position is there, and tight ends Jawan Johnson. He's still dealing with that calf issue.
Right.
You got Troutman. He's not there anymore. Ooh, it is getting late. Taysom Hill, Jimmy Graham. No, sit. And
yeah, I mean, I know Texans are weak against tight end, but
yeah, I'm still passing on that. And then Texans side of the ball, you got Dalton Schultz.
Nah, not against the Saints. I have no interest.
Yeah, they shut down tight ends like crazy. Second least points against tight end positions. So sit him if you can. So that'll do that. Let's move on. Try to power through these here. We have the Colts coming in at 3-2 versus.
1 second, I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. I'll get through this. We have Colts sitting at 3-2. We have the Jags sitting at also 3-2. We have Jacksonville opening up as 4.5-point favorites with a 45.5-point over/under. Currently sitting at Jacksonville favored by 4. Dropped down a bit to a 44-point over/under. We all know quarterback Anthony Richardson at this point is on IR, anywhere from 4 to potentially 8 weeks, almost the rest of the fantasy season. He'll probably be out dealing with that shoulder issue. So Mishu's going to be the one starting. As far as running backs go, Tycoon says that Jonathan Taylor will have more reps this week. So, I put that in the wrong spot. So he should get more reps. I don't think he's going to fully take over the backfield here. And then as far as the Jags side of the ball, they're pretty healthy, except for Zay Jones will be out again dealing with that knee issue after coming back, catching a touchdown in that game. So as far as quarterbacks go, Minshew, Jacksonville's given up the 8th most points to the quarterback position right now. You have the Colts giving up the 10th most. So we're obviously starting T. Law. And for Minshew, if you're in a weird, serious situation, you can start him. I like him more, of course, in a super flex or 2 QB type league if you had to get him in there to have him, and more longer term play that you'll have him there. So that's that. As far as running backs go, I think I would start Taylor and Moss this week. It might be closer to an even type split as Jonathan Taylor starts to work his way back from the injury. He hasn't really practiced, since December up until just these last 2 weeks. I believe he only got like 6 carries in last week's game for like 18 yards or something crazy. 1 catch for a few yards there. Just kind of getting him worked in there. But I think you'd be okay starting both of them. Even though Jags defense is pretty tough, 27th most points allowed. So they're pretty good against the run. It's always hard to kind of do that when you get with the higher number. So I think they're worth a start if you need to. And as far as Jaguars go, you're firing up E10. You're sitting Tank Bigsby. Oh, you're back. My bad.
Yep.
I was going on that one. Stop me whenever you want. So yeah, I'll let you do the wide receivers here. You have Kirk and Ridley on the Jag side. You have them both as starts this week with Zay Jones out?
Definitely both. Yes.
Absolutely. Both these teams have given up the 10th or better points allowed to the fantasy points allowed to the wide receiver position. So you're going to fire those guys up. And then on the Colts side, Pittman, Josh Downs has been kind of talked about this week. and
The
of course
downside,
Alec Pierce.
if you need somebody, I would go. I wouldn't go with Pierce, but I would go with Downs if you need somebody if you're in a tough spot.
Yeah, and I kind of have him that flex, start range there. Like you said, I'm sitting Pierce, and as much as it hurts me to say it, I'm firing up Pittman. I was so against him in the offseason, but yeah, that was more so just related to Richardson, who was obviously a lot better than I thought he was going to be as far as fantasy goes. Not so much, and more so like as a thrower. I think he came in throwing a lot better than I thought he was going to throw. The rushing didn't surprise me. It was the passing that actually made Pittman viable through these first couple of weeks. So, anything else you want to add on there? I kind of talked about, you're starting Trevor, you're had Minshew, starting in a super flex league, but pretty much sitting him in one QB.
Correct.
I want to get your thoughts on Taylor and Moss backfield, though.
This is probably the most risky week of all. I think starting next week, you'll start to see JT get much more significant run this week. I think it's the most unpredictable. As somebody who has to start JT in a couple of spots, I'm hoping for like 50-50. I'm not sure he'll quite be at 50 yet this week in terms of his share. It's tough. Honestly, if you have either of them, you're probably starting them. Just it's good enough matchup with you starting. They're going to run the hell out of the ball. It could be a week actually where both even produce well.
Yeah, I kind of have JT more as that like low end RB3 flex kind of guy, like between like 30 and 36, and I have Moss like in that 20 to 24 type range is where I think they may land, unless one of them just goes crazy, one or the other. So yeah, and then as far as tight ends go, I'm not starting any Colts tight ends, and I'm starting Evan Ingram. So
yes,
there you go. All right, so we'll move on here to Panthers at Dolphins, just to try to get through this thing here. We have the Panthers coming in 0-5 at the Dolphins, who are 4-1. Miami opened up as a 13.5 point favorite with a 48.5 point over under, and I currently have it sitting at 14 for Miami and 47.5 as the over under. We have Miles Sanders said he was making some good progress with his shoulder this week. They don't view it as a long-term injury, but he was ruled out for this week. So Chuba Hubbard is going to get the bulk of the carries per Frank Reich. You have Jeff Wilson dealing with the rib and finger issue. He's doubtful. They haven't activated him from when they opened him up on the 21-day practice window. It's been 2 weeks already, so I believe he only has 1 week left out of those 21 days now. So just something to kind of keep your eye on. And quarterback position, we're sitting Bryce, starting Tua. Could pretty much say that, right? Running backs, we've talked a lot about Chuba already. Kind of have him as a start if you really need to, but we're starting guys like Devonta Foreman ahead of him. And on the other side of the ball, Mostert, which I think is funny that A-Chain Wilson got hurt before Mostert. Mostert was the one who's injury prone, and dude hasn't missed a game since he's been in Miami, basically. So maybe it's just a Niners thing. But yeah, so Mostert, we have him as a start this week, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Perfect. And I guess Savon Ahmed is the only
RB2
other
right now, I think, overall. So yeah, you're starting Raheem.
Right. And is Savon Ahmed is the only other running back they really have there, right?
For this week, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you have him? Start or sit? Is he flexible?
Nah, I probably wouldn't unless you're desperate.
There you go. Could be a nice DFS play with Mostert there.
That's possible.
There we go. Wide receivers in this one. We're starting Adam Thielen at this point based on what he's doing. Take the name off the jersey.
Oh yes.
Those numbers, you're starting a guy putting up those numbers right now. Jonathan Mingo's trying to get work back in after dealing with his concussion, and I have him as a sit. And DJ Chark I have as like a low end flex kind of desperate wide receiver play if you need him.
Yeah, again, if you're desperate, Thielen's really the only guy I'm looking for.
Agreed. We're starting Hill. We're starting Waddle.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, right? On the Miami. Hill, Waddle, Tua, Mostert.
Yeah, no Barrios or anything. Just the two studs.
No Durham Smythe. Nothing. We're not getting cute here. So
no, not with this game.
There we go. All right, so we'll move on. Finally made it to the 1 o'clock games or 4 o'clock games for you guys on the East Coast. We got Patriots coming in 1-4 at the Raiders, who are 2-3. We have Vegas coming in as 3-point favorites with a 41.5 point over under. Still sitting at a 3-point favorites from what I see, and but dropped down to a 41-point over under. Juju Smith-Schuster ruled out, dealing with his concussion. Devontae Adams dealing with that shoulder, says he's going to be playing. So Carr and Mac, are we sitting both of those guys in one QB?
Carr?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jimmy G.
Jimmy?
Jesus, it's late.
Handsome
It's late,
James?
guys. Yeah, it's late, guys. It's late.
I'm never sitting Jimmy G. No, just kidding. I'm not starting either of these guys. No, get them out of here. For
There we go.
fantasy, come on.
Ramondre Stevenson, you starting or sitting? Raiders are 16th.
I'm not giving up on Ramondre yet. I'm starting him.
I think he has this
Against
could
the
be his
Raiders.
bounce back game here.
Yeah,
That he could have a decent game.
A start of a semi-decent stretch for him, I think.
Mm-hmm. Little revenge game here. Obviously going up against what's his face. So
McDaniels, yeah.
McDaniels, not Ramondre. So running backs, other side of the ball, Josh Jacobs, he's a start.
Automatic, yeah.
Obviously Devontae Adams is a start. Jacoby Myers is a start. I was totally wrong against him. Just to admit that to you here now.
Thank you.
Foremost.
Thank you. I've been waiting to bring that up to you, but I was going to give
absolutely.
it another week or two.
You know, hey, I admit when
he's
I'm
just
wrong.
The kind of receiver that Jimmy loves.
It's the touchdowns. It's the touchdowns that
he's
are
actually
crazy.
scoring.
Dude
Holy
was
shit.
allergic to touchdowns for all his years in New England, and then comes over here.
Such bad luck.
Also a revenge game.
Yes.
He could be a sneaky, nice little start in DFS. Yeah, I might have to throw him in a lineup there.
I haven't been doing as much DFS this year, but I might have to. There's a couple nice little targets.
Nice little picks there. Yeah, at good value too that they should be. So good stuff there. We're not starting Renfro or anybody else there in the wide receiver room. Tight ends, Mayer actually started getting a little bit of a run there, but I'm sitting him right now. Yeah, and we're not starting Hooper. Other side of the ball, red receiver. I mean, I'm not starting any other Patriots besides Stevenson, basically. So, I'll go with the lazy take there. Yeah, I guess so. But he even fell off. Like right when he got comfortable, thinking, "Oh, I could actually start him." He's just done nothing ever since.
That's what he does, which is why this week would be one that he would shine.
Right,
because he always goes off in the weeks when you're finally like, "Fuck this guy."
Right, you sit him, and then now he goes off. And Raiders are about middle of the pack against the tight end positions, 15th most points allowed to the tight end position. So there we go. We have next game. I'm just going to kind of move it along here. We have Cardinals sitting at 1-4, visiting the Rams at 2-3. Opened up at Rams at 6.5 point favorites and 48.5 point over under. Looks like it stayed the same from what I see. Correct me if I'm wrong. We had Hollywood Brown. He's been kind of limited Thursday and Friday dealing with an illness. So just keep your eye on that. Oh, okay. So they're up by 7 now, maybe with the Hollywood Brown coming in questionable. So we'll see how he does. Then you have Keanu Ingram dealing with that neck issue. He is good to go, practice in full here Friday, or I guess yesterday, Friday at this point. And no injury designation heading in, and he is listed as the RB1 over DeMarcado, who's listed as the RB2. So let's just start there. Ingram, DeMarcado, you have them as sit starts. What are you thinking at there?
I don't really want to start either of them, frankly. But if you're in a position, again, it's a messed up position at the moment. So if you need to start one, I would be starting DeMarcado this week over Ingram. Over the course of Connor's IR stint, I think it could shift towards Ingram. But for this week specifically, a hot hand, kind of a homecoming for DeMarcado. He's from Inglewood. They're playing at SoFi Stadium. He started his junior college playing career just down the road in Orange County at Saddleback College. So it's very much a homecoming for him. So I think he'll get some run, but not a guy I'm excited to start. Just if you're really in need of a running back.
Right. Came in of relief of Connor last week, obviously, with Connor going down. 10 carries, 45 yards, did get a touchdown. Saw 3 targets in the passing game, caught one of them for 12 yards. So like you said, if he does get the hot hand, obviously Ingram hasn't played the last 2 weeks, so Who knows what his conditioning's like? How many snaps is he going to play? I think the best that Ingram is going to get is maybe 50%. But I could definitely see that leaning towards DeMarcado just because he did just play last week and he's been practicing. So like you said, I'm probably leaning DeMarcado a little more than Ingram in the short term, but I think you said they have invested in Ingram, right? Like that was part of this regime. So I think they want to see what he's going to get. They've also gave him the respect about listing him as the RB1. So I think that is, pretty important as well too, when you kind of look into things like that. But ultimately, it just comes down to who's going to be running better, And I think DeMarcado is set up for that a little more than Ingram at this point. Not to mention, if he does get hit awkwardly or something and re-aggravate that neck, then he'll be sitting as well. So Kyron Williams, we're starting him, right? Pretty easy there. Puka Cup, we're starting. That's easy. Tutu Atwell, I think he's flexible as well too. Obviously, Van Jefferson got traded off to the Falcons. We didn't mention that in the Falcons game, but he's there. I don't think he's going to be really relevant either way at this point. And on the other side of the ball, or going back kind of quarterbacks here since I went kind of out of order. Dobbs, Stafford. I'm starting Stafford, sitting Dobbs. On the same point there. Perfect. We'll move on. And then at the wide receivers for Cardinals, obviously, if Brown's out, I mean, I'm not really starting any other wide receiver there.
If Hollywood goes, I'd start him, but otherwise, no.
Okay. And then tight ends, Higbee. I'm starting Higbee. And
if you have to, I guess.
Yeah. Interestingly, they're like 21st, kind of doing pretty good against the tight end position right now. But they pretty much have a history of being terrible against tight ends. Like usually they're like
they do
second
normally.
or third.
Normally they're like one of the worst.
Yeah.
But in
I guess
this case,
year
I think
they're
it's
doing
going to
okay.
be so damn easy for Puka and Cup that I don't think Higbee's going to see as many targets this week.
Right. And does that cover? Did we cover everybody there? Oh yeah, Ertz.
I think so.
We start Ertz. Yeah, sitting Ertz.
Yeah, no.
All right, so we'll move on here. We have Eagles coming in at 5-0 at the Jets, who are sitting at 2-3. Philly's favored by 6.5 with a 41.5 point over under. Still currently sitting at 6.5, but went down to a 41 point over under. No real injuries to really talk about here on the offensive side, but I did want to mention Darius Slay. He has been ruled out dealing with that knee issue, and defensive tackle that we mentioned earlier, Jalen Carter, the rookie dealing with an ankle. He's out as well. We're obviously starting Hurts. We're sitting Wilson. I think that's pretty self-explainable. Running backs, I know you're starting Swift. What about Gainwell? Can he see your lineup this week at all? Is he getting enough work?
All Swift all day.
Okay, so we're sitting Gainwell. I agree with you there. Again, unless you're in a crazy desperate pinch. Let's just say Gainwell versus the three guys we've been talking about, Hubbard, DeMarcado, or Foreman.
I'd start him only over DeMarcado from that group.
Okay. And running back, Brees, we're starting him, right? I mean,
probably based on your roster, but
not so much versus matchup, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a rough week for Brees. I still love him the rest of the season, but this is not the game. This
is going to be a pass funnel defense right here. Obviously, they're ranked third against the run right now, and giving up the fourth most points to wide receivers so far. So if they are going to get them, that's the way to go. So let's talk about those wide receivers. We're starting Wilson on the Jets side. Any other wide receiver we're starting over there? I don't think I could barely even name the other wide receivers on the Jets.
I mean, right Lazard, Cobb.
Yeah, I know. But they're just nothing. And then Eagles were firing up AJ Brown. Devonta Smith is kind of on that borderline. Maybe in that wide receiver, low end wide receiver 2 range, kind of.
I'd probably still start him, but another week where he'll probably be a bit of a disappointment. I think they'll be running the ball more this week, the Eagles. So
okay, Dallas Goedert.
Unless Moss misses, then maybe.
Okay, Dallas Goedert. Jets have given up the most fantasy points for the tight end.
Week. Yeah, no, I like Goddard this week.
Perfect. And then Conklin, I'm forced to start him in a couple places.
No,
Eagles. There you go. He's given Eagles have given up the 10th most fantasy points at the tight end position too, so it should
And
be a
they've
fairly
been,
decent matchup.
and Conklin's had a really nice couple week stretch again with the lack of other receivers outside of Wilson. Good spot for him.
Absolutely. So we'll move on. We'll keep it trucking here. Sorry guys, if you do have stuff, we'll get in the comments soon, but I just want to at least get through this and then we'll finish up with the comments. So if you have them in there, any last minute questions, get to them. Then just always remember, Classic Mike will be here Sunday morning. So anything we didn't get to here or couldn't answer, you can always come back Sunday morning and check it out with him. So we have Lions coming in here at 4-1, visiting the Bucks, who are 3-1, coming off their bye. Detroit's coming in favored by 3, and with a 44-point over/under is how it opened. It's currently sitting at Detroit still favored by 3, but went to a 42.5-point over/under. You had running back Jahmyr Gibbs ruled out due to his hamstring. Looks like Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to get the green light, dealing with that abdomen issue. He was off the injury report and good to go. Then we saw Sam Laporta pop up on Wednesday with dealing with that calf issue. He's technically listed as questionable, but it was later updated that it says he's going to be a go. So again, just something to kind of keep an eye on Sunday. And on the other side of the ball, you had Mike Evans dealing with that hamstring that he suffered, left the game early, had the bye week, came back, was kind of limited, but did log a full practice today. And looks like he's off the injury report and good to go as well. Kind of sucks. I was hoping for a big Godwin game here if he did sit. But we're starting Goff and sitting Baker. I take it in this one.
Yeah, I don't really love either of them this week, frankly.
Okay.
But
you might have other options with Goff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, neither you drafted top 12 most likely, so this would be the one to pivot to
Right.
the other one you have if you have them still on your roster.
There you go. Running backs, Demont smash start there. I don't think there's anything to say. And then Rashad White does have the tough matchup going against this number 1 ranked rushing defense in the Lions.
I'm not starting White if I can avoid it.
Exactly. Just based on where you drafted him, you might be stuck starting him. And just, again, the state of the running back position, let's just compare him to the 3 guys, DeMarcado, Foreman, and Hubbard. Are you starting White over any of them?
DeMarcado, yes, not over the other 2.
Okay. That lets us know where we need to be at. And as far as the wide receivers go, we're starting Evans, we're starting Godwin, and on the Lions, we're starting Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, start or sit?
Sit.
Okay. And both these teams are about middle of the pack fantasy points allowed to wide receiver position right now. So it's just kind of hit or miss there. Nothing too crazy to target, but nothing to shy away from. Am I missing anybody there as far as wide receivers go? Trey Palmer.
I mean, Jameson Williams, maybe, but no.
Oh yeah, Jameson Williams. That's right. Yeah, I have JMO as a sit right now too. Got to get him acclimated a little more. They had him to about 20 snaps or something last week, so you still need a couple more weeks. But you're ahead of schedule anyway, because he wasn't even supposed to be active until after this game. So, just kind of speeding along that process. Hopefully, he comes along. Tight ends, Laporta, we're starting him.
Yeah.
Even though it's a tough matchup, but he's tight end 2 or 3 right now.
Start at this point.
Absolutely. K. Dotton going up against Lions. They are giving up the 4th most fantasy points to the tight end position.
They are, but K. Dotton's, K. Dotton, so no.
I agreed. So yeah, I have him as a sit as well. All right, so let's get to the Sunday night football game. Only 2 games left. We have the 1-4 Giants visiting the Bills, sitting at 3-2. The line opened up at Buffalo favored by 14 with a 44.5-point over/under. Currently sitting at Buffalo by 15 with a 44-point over/under. Daniel Jones was ruled out due to that neck issue. Saquon Barkley is, they're saying, truly considered a game-time decision, dealing with that high ankle sprain suffered in week 2. He's been limited all week again, just like he was last week. And to me, if he plays, he's most likely probably going to be on some sort of a pitch count. That's even if he plays. I have him as a sit right now. We'll just kind of start there. And we'll just stick with, let me get your thoughts. We've kind of talked about it a couple times here, but your official Barkley take for the folks that were using the chapters and just skipping it.
I mean, Because it's Monday and like a game time decision, you're just gonna have to figure out something else, I think. And
Sunday night,
or Sunday
basically
night. I'm
Monday.
sorry, but yeah,
Basically
Sunday
Monday.
night. Even still, I think you're just gonna have to take the sit on this one, unless you truly have no other option.
Right.
Deep leagues and literally nobody available to pick up, kind of thing. Like I think
Right.
you just have to avoid Saquon this week.
Yeah, maybe you had Breida because you picked up Breida when Saquon went down as the Saquon owner, and that's like the only one that you can kind of wait it out and see what they say and maybe how he looks pregame, that kind of thing. You kind of get a
But I
little
mean,
more
you don't
info.
want to
It
start
seems like
Breida
on these
either.
Sunday night
So.
games. Yeah, it's going to be a terrible start, but at least you have someone to actually start, like instead of literally just having no one to even put in that position given the
Yeah.
time of the game. But yeah, pretty much staying away from that. James Cook, are we firing him up this week?
Yes.
Giants are fifth most points at the
I think
fantasy
this will be a good
position,
James Cook week. In the Bills wins, he's really excelled. So,
right? Especially if they're up big. Hopefully they'll use him to run out the ball, and it's not like Latavius Murray or Damian Harris or something. So obviously we have those two guys as sits too. Wide receivers, Gabe Davis. Diggs is the auto start. You starting Gabe Davis here?
no.
Okay.
No.
Giants have given up the 11th most fantasy points allowed to the wide receiver position. I have Davis kind of in that flex range if he needed to. The only problem is if the Bills get way up on the Giants, it's just kind of like when
And that's what I anticipate.
Seattle and everybody else just gets up on them. There's just no need to throw the ball on them at all. You're just kind of running the clock out, trying to get home without getting hurt. So, wide receivers on the Giants aren't even worth mentioning, in my opinion. Tight end positions. Kincaid dealing with a concussion. You got Dawson Knox dealing with the wrist. They're both questionable. They've been limited all week. Are you kind of staying away from those guys as well?
Yes.
All right. If one of them is out and the other one starts, I'd probably be more inclined to start one of them, but you're running in that same position. Yeah, you're running in that same situation as far as what's it called? Just them not having to really throw unless Josh Allen just wants to fling the ball around. On the other side of the ball, you got Darren Waller going up against this third-ranked defense against tight ends. You have him as a starter or sit.
I mean, it's not a good matchup and all that. Although Milano's out now, but it's kind of like a lot of these running backs, probably the best option you have. So it's like he's not really a start, but you probably have to because of your options.
Conklin?
I'd
Or
put
Waller?
Conklin over him this week. Yeah.
All right. See, that's why and Conklin's someone you can get off the wire right now. So that's why I kind of want to throw. Yeah. I have several leagues where he's on the wire. If he's not on the wire, I probably have him already. So there we go. Is that that's pretty much it, right? That wraps that game up. So let's get to the last game on the docket here. We got Cowboys coming in at 3-2, visiting the Chargers, who are sitting at 2-2, coming off their bye. Dallas opened up as 2-point favorites with a 50.5 point over/under in this one. Ooh, I can't wait for this game. And
finally, I feel like Monday night games haven't been that good this year, so
right, should be a good one. A lot of storylines in this one. Yeah. Dallas sitting at 2.5 point favorites right now, over under 51 points. So they bumped it up just a bit. You had running back Tony Pollard, who was upgraded to a full participation in today's practice after being limited and showing up on the injury report on Thursday, dealing with the shoulder. But they said it's nothing serious. He should be good to go. The most important news is running back Austin Eckler dealing with that high ankle sprain, practice in full all week. Looks like he's going to be ready to play his first game since going down with that high ankle sprain in week 1, which I called as a high ankle sprain. Not like a couple days after it happened when I watched Matt Harmon's podcast with him, the Eckler's Edge. If you guys haven't seen that or watched it, go watch it, man. It's so cool just watching Austin Eckler talk about fantasy football, like an active, real life, like top player talking about fantasy. It's amazing. And shout out to him for being
guy
there.
to do with it too.
Yeah,
I'm a big Matt Harmon fan, so I like that comment.
Same.
It's great.
Absolutely. I'm so glad I stumbled across that podcast. I listen to it all the time, every week, at least the Austin's Edge part of it, that hour. So yeah, so I'm excited to get Eckler back in my lineups. Obviously, you guys saw the intro, so I drafted Eckler almost everywhere I could. Big fan of Get Right over here. Just hearing Get Right come out of his mouth is one of the coolest things. Just to know, just having him know that we exist is one of the coolest things to me. So as far as this goes, is this one of those games where you're pretty much firing up almost everyone in this one with a 51 point over under?
Yeah, pretty much.
All
I
right,
know
we'll break it
the
down.
lazy takes, like you said, but they start everybody.
I was gonna say it's getting late. It's almost 3 a.m, so we'll take the lazy takes at this point. So yeah, Dak, he's on that lower end of those QB one, leagues. You're starting him in super flex, but I could see if you wanted to get away from him possibly. But again, I don't know how you could. Well, I mean, I know how you could because he just throws 3 picks all the time and not as many touchdowns, but that's just a whole different story. But we're obviously firing up Herbert. You're firing up Keenan Allen. What do we do with Palmer and QJ?
Still Palmer for now. I wouldn't start QJ yet. I think as the season progresses, that'll change. But for now, this week, Palmer.
All right, I agree with that. We're starting Pollard. Obviously, we're starting Eckler. He's ready to go. Gerald Everett, Fergie. What do you want the tight ends here?
I like them both. I would actually start both this week.
Absolutely. And then for wide receivers, Chargers have given up the most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. We're obviously starting Lamb. Hopefully, he kind of has I don't want to say bounce back game, little breakout, kind of finally a good game here.
I think he will.
Yeah.
I
But
think
what are we
he'll have
doing?
his best game of the year.
Yeah, it could be. But what are we doing with Gallup and Brandon Cooks?
Cooks is probably a flex. I'm avoiding Gallup.
Okay. Gallup's actually been doing decent these last couple games, interestingly or not. Better than Cooks.
In the Niners game, I feel like they were just.
I'm throwing out the Niners game. We own them. Yeah, I'm throwing that out.
No, but Gallup had a couple of catches there, but I think it was just lazy coverage on our part. So
right,
some faux production.
And again, anything that happened like in the fourth quarter was against like our second, third stringers. So I'm not even. There we go. Yeah, I'm probably sitting. I'm probably sitting him as well. I think I'll start Cooks. I have to actually personally flex him myself in a league that I'm not too happy about. So I'm hoping, again, if it's the right time, if there's any time to do it, it's now. So I'm hoping it pays off for me. So yeah, and then as far as the tight ends go, you got Ferguson with Dallas and Everett with the Chargers. Are these middle of the pack, both these teams against the tight end position?
Yeah, no, give me both though. I like both. Dak loves throwing to the tight end, so Ferguson to start, and
yeah,
I think even with Diggs out, still could be a struggle for the secondary receivers for the Chargers. So good spot for Everett.
Interesting. I kind of have Everett more as a sit in this one. I think Keenan Allen's probably going to get like 20 targets again. But I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I wouldn't mind starting Fergie like you said there too. So there we go. We freaking did it, man. We made it. We made it through this show. Appreciate you, man, for even doing this and sticking it out. That was amazing, man. So we got
22. Who cares?
Right? Yeah. At this point, it's just like, hey, we'll go all night. At this point, nah. I'm ready to go to bed. Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta work tomorrow, and I'm definitely ready to go to bed. But I could still probably do it for another hour just because I love talking football with you guys, and especially you, Tycoon. Real fun to do. So let's see. Got a couple other questions here. I don't know if we still got people sitting here watching us at 3 a.m, man. This is awesome. I thought it'd be like 0 by now. This is amazing. You guys are freaking amazing, man. Appreciate you guys. So we got Kieran all saying, got JT and the Zach Moss stacks. I can pick up Foreman and Chuba. Who should I start at running back? So out of those 4 guys, let's say if you had to pick 2, who you start?
With the JT and Zach Moss thing this week is so difficult.
Yeah.
I almost kind of.
I'm kind of leaning Moss Foreman.
Yeah, me too.
He says it's a 10-man half PPR on Yahoo.
Yeah. Moss Foreman. Yeah.
I would go Moss Foreman. And just, you'll get more clarity coming out of this week. But for this week, I'd go Moss and Foreman and just kind of deal with the results.
But 100% is going to go more towards JT as it goes on. He's getting paid, top 5 RB salary. He's going to get used, but it just might take another week or 2. That's all.
Yeah, they're not trying to hurt him after paying him. So there we go. And then the last one here, Dr. Clutch coming in with the last chat of the night, saying, "What receiver should I be looking to sell Mostert for? Trying to find his value."
Like a high-end wide receiver 2 type, I would say. I mean, again, probably like a Brandon Ayuk level receiver is what I'd be looking for.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you can swing a Puka out of it. I still like Puka even with
I'll also say I just wouldn't be in a rush
back.
to be trading Mostert. Like I would,
Yeah.
I like to have him on my team. He's, again, I think he's running back 2 right now.
I was going to say, he's a running back that's actually healthy at the moment, and that's about all you can ask for. That's getting volume on a very good offense
He's
that
RB2.
is going to give him looks.
I would rather just keep the RB2 myself than, and I know there's injury risk with him too, but
he's
good.
outlasted all these other guys running backs in his backfield so far. So,
and he's in a top 2 offense in the league. So just
exactly, yeah, I'm not in a hurry to trade him off at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, maybe like Amon-Ra St. Brown, but either way. So he has Higgins, D-Hop, Addison, and Pickens. I could see how you're looking for a wide receiver 1. I mean, you want like a top 10 wide receiver for him. And he is a running back. I just,
if you can get a wide receiver 1, I would do it. But
like CeeDee Lamb, you can get CeeDee Lamb. Would you want CeeDee Lamb for him?
You might be able to right now, actually, and I think I would do that.
Okay.
I know Lamb's,
who else is kind of
slow
there in
start,
that
but
area?
I think it'll pick up more for the Dallas offense. And
Okay.
Lamb will have positive regression.
What about this? What if you try to trade him for JJ?
I would do that, yes.
That's who I would shoot for first. At least have him reject that offer. Maybe give him JJ and like Pickens for or not JJ and Pickens, but Mostert and Pickens for JJ. And just kind of, he already has Addison, I guess. I don't know if I'd want both of them once he comes back. Ooh, that would have been such a good one. Oh, maybe you go Mostert and Addison for JJ. But you kind of want Addison's production right now.
Correct.
Pickens is on a bye.
So
Ooh, that's tough. That sucks. That sucks to have Addison at that time. But yeah, maybe you can still. I would try it, like at least in the offer, and see if they'll do it. So he's saying his running backs are Pollard, Bijan, Mostert, Javonte, and Pierce. That doesn't really change my mind from our initial thought, as you'd want to keep them because it's nice just having those 3 running backs that are solid. Because Javonte is not looking great. They may even shut him down and just run McLaughlin for the rest of the year if they start blowing that whole thing up. And then Pierce isn't that great, as and then he faces Tennessee twice in the playoffs, which is tough. 15 and 17. So if you can get off of Pierce, right now, maybe you can package Pierce and Pickens for a little lower tier type guy.
Yeah, something like that would definitely be better.
If even like a Garrett Wilson, like would you do Pierce and Pierce and Pickens for Garrett Wilson?
Yes. Oh yes.
With DJ Deontay Johnson coming back. So yeah, if you can move Pickens and
that's a good idea
for Garrett Wilson, that's something I might want to try to do. So hey, every once in a while, blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. the brain's still firing just a bit on these trades.
Really good. I think that could get done too.
Yeah. And so we'll leave it at that. So again, Dr. Clutch, you've been here with us before. We'll be back on Wednesday doing our trade show. So come find us then. And again, things can change for a lot within these next couple days. So last question here, season. We're getting all these now they know we're answering questions again. So now they're all rolling in again. Trade away Adams. I don't even like the start of that. Trade away Adams for Puka and Mostert. Oh, that's kind of on the other side of that. I think I'd rather have Puka and Mostert. Gosh, but I love Adams.
I would keep Devontae.
Yeah, I think I'm keeping Adams if I already have him.
But I would, if I already, it's like one of those things.
Whichever side you have, you'd rather just say,
yeah,
that's who you kind of invested in, so to speak, or you got that value. But yeah, if you're trading away Adams, I want someone more than Puka and Mostert. Right. Like I want at least a second, or someone who was drafted in the first or second round, or at least the second or third round.
Yeah,
and then Adams, maybe like somebody else.
Move off.
Exactly. So Kyle Flint, looking like he's coming in here from the boardroom side of things. So, this is KJ. What are you doing up? Oh, it's probably like morning over there. He says commentary on who you think will be better rest of the season, Stevenson versus Gibb for redraft. So he actually hit me up on a DM for this. I said Stevenson
I think
just because I.
Stevenson too. Yeah.
All right, so that makes it easy. So we're both Stevenson, and you know how we're in the same league together, man. You can hit us up on DM for that, so we can kill this live show. It's almost been 3 hours, so we're gonna get out of here. So yeah, and I know I could say that to him just because he's our boy over there.
But yeah,
so,
no, Stevenson though, is I think
Don't
Gibbs
give him
will
quite
also
yet.
improve as it goes. But yeah, I'm not getting totally off of Gibbs, but I think the situation is much better for Stevenson to just get there through volume more than anything.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, KJ. We appreciate it, brother.
Always, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, KJ.
And Drunk saying he loves the late streams. There we go. I can't believe you guys are freaking animals out here still at 3 a.m. Like, what are we doing
Honestly.
here? What are you guys doing here? Like, we just were hoping you guys would watch this in the morning. Like, I did not expect anybody to be on here live.
This
with us
was
this late.
way more engagement than I was
This
expecting
is
tonight.
crazy. Yeah, y'all are awesome, man. Y'all are really awesome. All right, so of course I got to take care of some housekeeping things here, and we'll get the heck out of here. So for those of you guys who don't know, maybe if you've been living under a rock or a mountain, a boulder, whatever you want to call it, but we have underdogfantasy.com, man. It's a best ball platform. They have a variety of different in-season contests from their weekly drafts, DFS type, best ball drafting. In addition to that, they have their pick'ems and specials and things there. So go check out underdogfantasy.com. Use that promo code GetRight when you make your first deposit. They will match it from $10 now up to actually $500. They'll do the match. Might be for a limited time. It looks like they extended it, so I keep checking it every day. They still have it, so get it while you can. More importantly, they're doing, I don't want to say more importantly, but another awesome thing that Underdog's doing is they're giving away $100,000 every Sunday, man. See, I don't usually my boy Frank's here putting up these things up. So best ball for those of you guys who don't know, just to back up there just a second. No waivers, no trades, no setting your lineups. You just kind of draft it, set it, and forget it. And then because a lot of those are done already, now they're doing their pick'ems right now. And then, like I said, they're doing their 100K giveaways. So basically, their feature pick. All you have to do is include them in one of your entries. This week, it's Cooper Kupp, higher or lower than 90.5 total yards. And if you included him in your pick, in one of your entries, they're going to just select 10 people at random and give them $10,000 each. So you don't even have to get it right. You just have to include the pick, which is amazing. So make sure you guys go check that out. And again, use that promo code GetRight. Not only that, for new customers, when you do sign up using that promo code, they'll also get you a new customer special. This week leading up to the early games, it's going to be Joe Burrow can't say that, higher or lower than a half a total yard. So basically like a free pick on one of your entries there. So make sure you guys go check out underdogfantasy.com and use that promo code GetRight, and make sure you guys play responsibly. Lastly, I want to bring up our affiliate channels here. So we got Tim and AJ over at the Fantasy Frontline podcast. You got the Checkdown podcast with Cody McGoats, Shirtless Pat, and the fellas over there, and Greg. And then our boy Adam, them boys, as you guys know him, is going to be starting his show soon here, the Dead Zone Fantasy Show. So make sure you guys go into the description, check out the links, subscribe to the channels, because when we do our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, you're going to have to be subscribed to these guys in addition to us. Plus, you guys got to go subscribe to Tycoon's channel as well, the Fantasy Boardroom. His link is in the description as well, too. So make sure you guys go do that, support him. You know, coming out here, spending 3 hours with us, answering your questions. Go throw him a subscribe if you're watching right now. So other than that, man, just real quickly, give you the floor real quick. Tell the people that may not know where they can find you, what you got going on, and all that good stuff. So go right ahead, man. I know it's late, but power through.
Hopefully this late I can remember. Yeah, geez. Yeah, you can find me over on Twitter at ff_Tycoon. And you can also find me on YouTube at the Fantasy Boardroom, stream every Wednesday night, except for this week, a little bit of life got in the way. Also doing a proper football, no, but really a soccer betting show, premier betting show. So if you are looking to get some bets in there on the pitch, make sure you check us out on YouTube there at Premier Betting Show. Also, if you do go check out the concurrent stream here on Fancy Boardroom, you will also find our Discord link in the description. So please go there, check out the Discord where you can stay up on current picks. As far as fantasy start sit discussion, trade discussion goes on over there as well, similar to the Get Right channel on Sleeper. And also prop picks are posted, NFL bets are posted, and bets for other sports as other seasons go along. So check us out there.
Absolutely, man. It's like you're like a professional. I love it, brother. I love it. I love it. Yeah, you guys got to check him out, man. With his betting and props and all that stuff, man. Does pretty well. I know you guys were on a good run there for a while. Last year, I know you had some good runs, and then now you're doing the soccer and stuff like that too, man. So you guys are all in it. So there you go. And again, just shout out to you freaking degenerates out there, man. Still hanging out with us, saying goodnight. We can all go to sleep now, man. This is awesome. I think I already put that one up, but he's saying do more late streams like this for Squidward, man. So there you go. Season said, don't think y'all answered this question earlier, but Superflex, should I roll with Tanny, Tyrod, Mondre, or Lockett? Oh, I think I might have did skip that. So real quick, Tanny, Tyrod, Mondre, or Lockett in his Superflex. I think I'm going Lockett.
Yeah, me too.
There we go. So, and he says, have a good night. So there we go. Drunk Squidward said also, is there going to be a Sunday morning show? Classic will be here on Sunday for you guys. He's taking his anniversary weekend ends at 8 o'clock Pacific time. I don't know what time that is, Eastern, 8 or something like that, but he will be here for you guys. I might try to pop in there too, but I don't know. I might still be sleeping after tonight. Then we got the citizen asking Foreman or Hubbard full PPR. We did answer this one earlier. I think we're both Foreman on that one.
Foreman, yeah. If you really need a potential higher ceiling, Hubbard and full PPR, but in general, Foreman.
There we go. And he said, I showed up late. Have a great night, guys. Yeah, but we'll be back here Sunday, man. And again, you could just go back, check out the show. We answered a lot of those questions. We went even more depth on it. And then, of course, you can check out the actual game breakdowns for those games, and we'll go there. So, again, got to all the chats in there, man. Appreciate you guys for everything. Again, we are at 1,000 subscribers now, man. So keep us going, man. We don't want to be the best kept secret. Send the link out to your leagues, your friends, anybody that you can tell, man. Have them go subscribe to us here, man. We'd appreciate it. And if you're subscribed, make sure you hit that like button for us because it helps us out just as much. Other than that, man, again, Tycoon, I can't thank you enough for freaking being crazy enough to do this here with me. And I think I'm about to just pull out a pillow and sleep here on the desk tonight because I don't know if the wife will even let me back in bed doing the stream until 3 a.m.
Wake her up when I go in there too. Jeez.
You know what I mean? We might have to sleep together on this one. We'll be on a cot next to each other and try to get some sleep. But nah, man, really appreciate you. I can't thank you enough, man. Absolutely. So for myself, man, for Dustin, for Frank, for who else am I missing? Classic Mike, of course. For me, for you, for everyone involved, man, here at Get Right Again. We can't thank you guys enough. Other than that, man, we're out of here. We'll see you on Sunday. Good luck this week, guys. And let's get the heck out of there. Go to sleep. You guys need to go to bed.
Yes, go to sleep.
Later. Absolutely. Later, guys.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play.